Fox Soccer Channel, the Big Ten Network, Speed, Fuel TV, FSN, and Fox Sports, the greatest collection of sports networks in the world.
We are Fox Sports!
This place is fast, and I mean bad fast.
That's called the Darlington Stripe.
Lady in Black. Isn't she pretty?
Too tough to tame. Saturday night, the Lady in Black's gonna be fast, fast, fast.
She's mean and she's coming after you.
Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing, boys! Let's go racing!
This place always been treacherous.
You can never relax here. You can never let your guard down.
367 laps, no mistake, is almost impossible to do, but whoever does will win.
It is the scene of the closest finish in history. It's the track with as many nicknames as challenges. Fox Sports welcomes you to NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing from Darlington Raceway in South Carolina. A change in the points lead as drivers talking about what they have to do tonight with the Lady in Black or the track too tough to tame. We'll see how it plays out. A Hollywood hotel in the infield of a rickety and adventurous old track. And glad you're with us. Along with Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers, glad you could join us for a return to racing's roots. And for those of you looking for the conclusion of the Red Sox-Yankees game, they earlier had an hour 15 rain delay. You can catch it on the Fox Cable Network channel FX. Happy Mother's Day weekend to all. And Darrell, before we talk racing, special thoughts for those who have been hit hard in the state of Tennessee because of flooding. And I know that for you, hits close to home.
It really does, Chris. And for all of our buddies back in Nashville, we're here racing tonight. But our hearts and prayers are with everybody in the Nashville area. Devastation. I've never seen anything like it. They call it our 100-year flood. Opryland Hotel, all downtown on Broadway, music. All the music people down there were hit hard. It's just devastation. And I'm proud of the people from the volunteer state because they're stepping up, volunteering, and taking care of it themselves.
Not whining about it, helping each other, and donations to the Red Cross would be appreciated. Well, with 4 different winners in the last 4 races, snapping losing streaks have become commonplace. Somewhat new and improved Kyle Busch celebrated his 25th birthday by ending his own string of 21 races without a win, taking Richmond, the driver of the 18 car, winning the 17th race of his career.
He and Dave Rogers have got some work to do.
Why isn't Kyle Busch winning races?
But he needs to be more reckless.
I've got to get back to being the bad boy. Keep an eye on the 18 tonight.
You know you like that.
Here comes Kyle.
He needed that a lot.
Wild Thing wins in Richmond.
Nice to have Kyle Busch with us from Joe Gibbs Racing, getting ready to roll tonight. Kyle, thanks again and congratulations on the win. Your owner, Joe Gibbs, said he likes the new Kyle Busch. What do you think he meant by that?
I don't know. Maybe he just likes the way we're not tearing up as many race cars. But yesterday wasn't very indicative of that. We had a tough go-around. But hopefully the double mint car is good to go for today. Dave and the guys have done a lot of hard work on this backup car, and we're looking to take it for them dead last all the way up through there.
Hey, Kyle, it's DW. Last night, I laughed. I just laughed when I heard Hamlin call you on the team radio and say, is this the new Kyle or the old Kyle? Is this the happy Kyle or is this the mad Kyle? What are we going to see tonight, brother? You won last week. What are we going to see tonight?
I don't know. We're going to have a hard task. We start so deep in the field, but we just got to be patient, bide our time, and make some good pit stops, make some good thoughts on pit road, do some good things, and try to get up through there. Doing this interview, I just missed driver intro, so it doesn't matter. I'm going to the back anyway. So
I'm sorry. I hope that wasn't Darrell's fault.
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
We've got things going for us, but tonight we just got to work on some things like I was mentioning before, and make sure we keep it all in order anyway.
Kyle, now I've been hard on you and Dave Rogers this year, and you guys have turned the corner, and you're looking strong as far as the points. You got to victory lane. Is there any one thing that has happened in recent weeks to really kind of make it come together? Because tonight you're going to have to kind of rely on him.
Yeah, tonight's going to be one of those nights where you rely on your spotter, you rely on your crew chief really heavily, and you just got to make do with what you got. Your car can only be as fast as it can be, and you can only pass when you can pass. It's so tough to go around this place, so it's really going to be crucial to try to get everything going and get up through there. It's going to take some 2 tires, some staying out sometimes, so just try to get track position back, and once you can get up there and race with the guys up front, then it should be smooth sailing.
All right, Kyle, thanks for your time again. Sorry about delaying there a little bit. I like a driver with personality who's also winning races finally, third in points, a true championship threat.
I've always been a big fan because of the way he races. I like the way he gives 100% all the time. Might want to try 90 tonight, though, for a while.
All right, part of the reason he might have been a little bit, edgy because of what happened in practice, right? We had up to 17 cars that scraped the wall, which is, and we have 6 drivers in the race tonight that are in backup cars. Guys were going down like a noob in Call of Duty.
But that's the reason why we talk about this racetrack like we do, and it's got all these nicknames. You come here, you have got to understand this racetrack will jump up and bite you in a heartbeat, and that's what makes it like you either love this place or it's your worst nightmare.
It's quirky.
It very much is.
It's quirky. It's shaped like an egg. And so, when you call a racetrack, it's shaped like an egg, you must be an egghead, right?
Well, one of the, you used to have to be physical to win here.
Oh, yeah.
But now it's more about.
Back in the day, you had to be tough to win here. You had to man up. Now you got to be smart. I believe you got to give 90% of the race, but the last 10% you got to give 100% to win.
I don't know about the math, but I know what he means.
But when he starts talking about being smart, that kind of worries me.
Well,
now, you did win here 5 times.
I was talking about egghead.
All right, give me a quick smart driver. All right, Mark Martin won last year.
2 Jeffs and a Mark.
Okay, all
That's right.
That'll help us out. Jamie McMurray, by the way, on the pole, first driver to go back over 180 miles per hour in qualifying. And again, if you're looking for the Red Sox Yankees on FX, they earlier had a rain delay. They are playing now on our cable Fox affiliate. We're live here in Darlington for a little NASCAR. Here's what's around the turn. We're going to read a chapter from the How to Get a Lap Back 101. Daryl and Jeff explain the wave around rule, how it affected the last race. It might affect one in the future. Success requires good communication, but you have to speak the language. And we'll go to track lingo and try to understand. And the owner-driver, Tony Stewart. It's a little early to say he's in a sophomore slump, but we'll ask him about it. All that plus gas and go. Make sure to take care of Mom on Mother's Day weekend. We're glad to have you for NASCAR on Fox.
That was Jeff Gordon.
Here they come! Harvick! It's Harvick! One of the best closers in the business.
So after 10 races, Harvick takes the points lead from Jimmy Johnson. Last year, Kevin was 23rd at this time. 6 of the top 12 drivers have not won in more than a year. Junior just out of the top 12, 4 points from that spot. The furthest anyone has made the chase after 10 races. Matt Kenseth, 24th in 2005, and he got in again. For those of you trying to catch the conclusion of the Red Sox Yankees, they earlier had a rain delay. They're playing now on FX, our Fox cable affiliate. The DirecTV head-to-head knockout contest wraps up tonight. You guys have been following this all along. Your fastest 4, Daryl. What are you looking for? We'll knock him out later.
Well, I got Denny Hamlin tonight, and I'll tell you why. I like the 11 car. It's got a lot of history here, and that car is fast. He could win tonight.
Well, you can already tell. I like Kevin Harvick. I think he is leading the points. He's going to turn things around tonight and make Darlington his favorite place.
How many times 29 won here?
I think he has.
The same number your guys won here.
I like the animated bobbleheads.
Head-to-head, baby.
If you want more, go to directtv.com/NASCAR. Darlington has been voted by fans as one of NASCAR's greatest tracks. Dale Earnhardt Jr., though, he might beg to differ. He has a love-hate relationship with this place. Friday, he took to the track, and then the track took to him. And then afterwards, kind of tongue-in-cheek, Junior said, I'll probably come here when I'm 45, run a race, and say the hell with it. And he may not be alone.
Turn 4 is creating havoc. Oh, pow.
Yeah, it's just typical Darlington. Might as well not even decal the right side when you come here.
What we call the Darlington Stripe.
We're getting about 1 a lap right now. Looks like the Mountain Woo car just got into the wall.
Rolling out another number 88.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., a tough start to tonight's race, into the wall a couple of times at the most difficult racetrack anyone could possibly imagine. What are your thoughts going into tonight's race?
Well, we got in the wall a little bit with the primary car. We probably could have fixed it, but we only had a few hours of practice left and didn't want to get to looking at the car later at night and find some things bent on it and wonder what to change. So we just decided to get the backup out, and we hit the wall with it a couple times too, but that thing's going to have to be able to hit the wall a few more times before we load it up tonight. So seems like you hit it probably half a dozen times during the race anyways, every trip here. So we feel like the car handles good and drives good. What little practice we did get in on it was pretty fast, so track position is going to be real important.
We wish you the best tonight. Thank you.
So 67 races since his last win, and in a backup car and a track, it doesn't look good.
No, I disagree with you.
Really?
I think I talked to Lance McGrew earlier today. He feels very confident this backup car is not really a backup car. It's a good quality race car, folks. It's not your usual thing we used to have a few years ago. This car is a car he raced at Atlanta. He was happy with it when they did get a few laps in it. And fortunately, his luck may have turned around. I was in the garage area. They found a problem with the oil cooler. Had to change the radiator and oil cooler together. That's going to help him.
I just don't like the vibes, though. He's coming off a bad finish last week at Richmond. Trouble in practice. Qualified okay. They need something good to happen to them early. They need to get up to the front and stay there if they're going to do any good tonight.
Only one DNF in his last 15 Darlington races for Junior. Well, this season, in order to make the races more interesting for viewers, fans, and drivers, NASCAR instituted a series of rules changes, from the elimination of the wing to multiple attempts for a green-white checker finish, racing changing for the better. To explain one of the new rules, Darrell and Jeff brought back some old-school technology.
Chris, everybody's asking all week long, what is the wave around? That's right, the wave around. Nobody understands it, so I brought in Professor Waltrip to explain it to us.
Just take Saturday night, last week, for instance. The 18 car was the leader. 10 laps after those green flag stops, a caution flag comes out. Now, if 18 stays on the racetrack, the wave around doesn't work. 18 and all the other lead lap cars, they go to pit road. When they go to pit road, the cars that are a lap down move up behind the pace car.
But Professor, the way this is lined up, pace car, lap down cars, leader, and the rest of the lead lap cars, that's the way it used to be.
Well, yeah, it's the way it used to be, and that's right. But here's the deal. Just think about it, folks. We used to sit up there, Mike, Larry, and I, and the guys in the pits. Where's the leader? Where's the leader? Oh, there he is. So the leader had to take the green flag behind all these cars that were on the tail end of the lead lap. NASCAR wanted to simplify it, so they instituted the wave around rule. This way, they get an opportunity to go all the way around the track. They're still at the tail end of the lead lap, but the front of the field is clean for the green.
Now I understand.
Well, it helps, but that panel, it looked like you're in my uncle's basement from Aurora, Illinois.
Did you see my picture on the wall, though?
That's right.
From the Mountain Dew car was taking the lead, baby, from the Gatorade car.
That's the old driver's
school
lounge right there that we used to have here way back when.
I spent a lot of days in there
Little history.
Instead of Wade's World, DW's World. Coming up, we're live at Darlington. Tony Stewart, 17 races since his last win. He's never won here at Darlington. We'll talk to him when we continue. NASCAR on Fox. NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Sprint, proud sponsor of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, and by Subway Restaurants. Enjoy so many $5 footlong subs all day, every day, only at Subway. Getting ready for the start of the race here in Darlington, and those of you wanting to catch the Yankees-Red Sox on Fox cable affiliate FX after they had an hour 15 rain delay earlier, they're playing now with the Yankees leading. Denny Hamlin won the Nationwide race last night. Spent over 13 hours in and out of his Nationwide and Cup car yesterday. How will that surgically repaired knee hold up? Tonight, he has his highest starting position he's had this year, starting 7th. The legendary David Pearson won Darlington 10 times. Jeff Gordon leads all active drivers with 7 wins, and 2-time Cup champion Tony Stewart, he's never won here. And to make things worse, in the last 5 races, he's lost 10 points in the position in the standings there. So being in the middle of the pack, not what you'd expect from a driver as good as Stewart. Last season, he became the owner driver, and you wonder now, after a good year, is it wearing on him? He was quoted as saying with his crew chief Darian Grubb this week they were confused about what's going on. Let's check in with Chris Devoda. She is with Tony.
Well, Tony, one of the first to give all the credit during good times to all the people surrounding him. So what are those people saying about this slump that you guys are in right now?
I guess probably the biggest supporter we've had has been Steve Odland from Office Depot. He's called and told us to keep our head up, and that, even he's reminding me that I haven't forgot how to drive. So, we've got great people, and when you got somebody like Steve and everybody at Office Depot behind you and everybody at Old Spice, it really means the world to us. But it's just been rough. But this was a good place to us last year. We ran 3rd here, and Ryan finished 4th, and it was first twin top 5 for the Stewart-Haas organization. So looking forward to it and happy to celebrate Coke's 124th anniversary tonight.
All right, that's right. That 3rd place finish last year, Tony Stewart's best at this racetrack.
Thank you, Krista and Tony. Now, he's traditionally a slow starter. He makes the chase, right?
Yeah, I think he makes the chase. But what happened, folks, last year, I think our expectations changed. He started off great last year, and that's not Tony Stewart-like. This year is more like what we're accustomed to seeing out of Tony Stewart. Slow start, middle of the summer, really starts to get on a roll, and he ends up strong.
And Chris, I think you also got to factor in the new spoiler, some different tire combinations. They may not be quite caught up, but a lot of people in the garage area are at least saying tonight, watch out for the 39 car, Ryan Newman, out of the Stewart-Haas group, because they say he's good. And if he's going to be good, you got to believe Tony's going to be good.
And Tony's got experience on his side. Time for our Fox News Watch. Richard Childress is saying this week that he expects to have points leader Kevin Harvick re-signed to a contract extension by the end of the month, so they will stay together for RCR. Ryan Newman, we just talked about Tony Stewart, the 39 pit crew. They traveled to Fort Benning, Georgia to meet with troops this week and show them how to change a tire on a tank. Nice work. And speaking of pit crews, the crew for Jeff Burton of the 31 team visiting New York at Fox & Friends, Fox News Channel, for a pit crew challenge. And now the tires on that car are fair and balanced. Time now for Gas and Go.
That's way too good.
How hard did you work on that one?
We have a staff. All right, so you have not seen the questions. We don't know the answers.
Neither of you.
That's right. That's what's good about this. Darrell, you're on the clock. Is Jeff Gordon having a good or bad year? We know he's led the most laps, but he doesn't have a victory yet.
Here's the thing about Jeff Gordon. The car he's running tonight, they've run it 3 times. It's finished second 3 times. So I'm picking Jeff Gordon to run second tonight.
All right, so he's not going to pick him. He picks Junior every week. All right, Jeff, you told us the spoiler wouldn't really make it other teams even with the 48 team and Jimmy Johnson. And I know it's early here, but Jimmy Johnson has not won since we went back to the spoiler. Is it an equalizer?
I don't think it's an equalizer. I think it's got a lot of people confused, and we've seen so much other confusion because of green-white, checkers and double file restarts and everything that goes involved with it. I think that's been more of a balancing that deal than the spoiler has.
Okay. He was backpedaling. Darrell, will Juan Pablo Montoya...
That's something new?
He's 18th in points. Does he make the chase? Because he's been moving up 6 positions in the last 2 races. He's gone up.
2 weeks ago, I'd have said no way. Yep. But the last 2 weeks, he's had top 10 finishes. He's recovered some. He's got back a lot of those points he lost. He knows how to do it. They did it last year, and looks like he's got a lot of happy fans out there tonight.
That's your buddy Herbert Ames.
That's Big Herbert.
And he was just up at the TPC visiting his friend, watching some golf in between. All right, Jeff, for you, what's going on with Roush Fenway Racing? We haven't had a Ford win a race this year. The team has been shut out of victory lane since last fall.
Very good question. I don't know.
Is it horsepower? I hear that.
I think it has a lot to do with the handling part of the thing. I think they've got good horsepower. I think they're having a problem with the handling package more than anything else, and they've got to go back and work with the engineers to improve their handling their race cars.
They're in a slump.
Big time.
They're hanging in there in points. For you, Darrell, Denny Hamlin, we won the Nationwide Series. We talked about that. He says he's still rehabbing that knee. It's a lot more work than he thought it would be. Talk about the challenge for him, especially on a track like this.
I don't know. I'm going to get both of mine worked on. If it makes you run like he's been running, I can tell you that. No, the rehab's come along great, and obviously it's not affecting him. He raced last night. He was up all day and half the night. He'll be good tonight. That 11 car is bad fast. He's my man.
Fast race cars make you feel better, but did you see him when he got out of the car last night? He was wincing when he stepped out of the car. It's still hurting.
Kevin Harvick, will Kevin Harvick be the championship leader, points leader at the end of the night? It's just a 10-point advantage. No? So we have a change there?
Yes, he will.
All right, and last question. What did you guys get your moms for Mother's Day?
Oh, wow. Hey, Mom, happy Mother's Day. You got your flowers. I love you. Big hug, big kiss.
My mom, Nancy, I've got you a beautiful card coming for tomorrow, as well as a special gift card to your favorite restaurant.
And for all the people who work on the show, their moms appreciate it. I know Bill Richards, our producer, his mom, Christine, watches the show. She TiVos it and then counts my mistakes, kind of an executive producer.
I thought she was counting bills.
And tells him. Well, that too.
21, 22.
Every sport has its own lingo. Football, the blitz and the cover 2. Baseball, the suicide squeeze, high heat. NASCAR, when the driver and the crew chief, when they talk on the radio, no static. Everything is crystal clear to them.
Plowing. The forward bite is a lot better than the first front. Turn 4 is more of a lateral load, as you can't make rookie mistakes. Look like a bunch of buffoons. I turned off your magical beat blower.
Yeah, he's a little jelly-legged, but he's walking.
But I'm checking up inside you. Dad, we're going to go over a toolbox hookup routine, because 2 weeks in a row it's falling apart. Do you want that booty for your foot? Holy moly.
as former driver and crew chief, you guys, I'm sure, had your own lingo. What do you like?
Hey,
You have some favorites?
I didn't hear anybody talk about a thing was turkey walking. Did you?
No crabbing.
No juking
Or jiving. How about
not a skosh?
How about a hospital hop?
Oh, a hospital hop.
What's that? What's a hospital hop? You heard it?
That's when you're in big trouble.
You go out of here.
Okay. All right. So you said Jeff Gordon was going to finish second.
Yeah.
Who's going to finish first?
Well, you know what? Even that, it's going to be a Jeff or a Mark.
Okay. Mark Martin,
Yeah,
Jeff
there'll
Gordon.
be a mark in the car, and it won't have a mark on it, I promise you.
And for you, think about it, we have Kevin Harvick is at the back of the pack, Kyle Busch, Carl Edwards starting way back. This is not an easy place to.
When you talk about Kyle Busch, it's going to take a lot of strategy right now, folks. You got to watch these guys. 2 tires or something like that, no tires. They've got to get to the front and get track position if they expect to win.
You got to be smart. You got to be a thinking man. You can't run at 100%, I promise you. Not all night.
Have fun in the play-by-play booth with Larry and Mike. We'll be talking to you. All right.
We always have fun.
Here.
She's pegged.
At Darlington.
90%.
And for those of you trying to catch the conclusion of the Yankees-Red Sox that had an earlier rain delay on our Fox Cable affiliate FX, you can see they're in the bottom of the 7th. But we're going to go racing here. Can Dale Earnhardt Jr. snap that string? 67 consecutive losses. Hamlin, he seems like he's moving pretty well. See how he moves in the car. And to all the moms out there on the eve of Mother's Day, we know you never get a day off. We always appreciate everything you do. So happy Mother's Day. NASCAR on Fox continues here from Darlington in just a moment. NASCAR on Fox as we come to you live from Darlington, South Carolina. For Zena Mackenzie Josie, who passed away earlier this week, our thoughts. She was the mother of Darlington Raceway Vice President and General Manager Mac Josie. A moment of silence. And we will get you to the opening ceremonies in just a moment. You could see a hot, steamy day, probably about 50, 60 miles before the sun goes down and things cool off. Track conditions important.
It really is, Chris. I mean, a lot of the practicing done this week has all been under extreme heat here at the Darlington Raceway. I'm talking about 125 or 30 degrees track temperature. By the time we drop the green flag, it's going to cool down to about 100. It'll continue to cool down. That's going to make a big difference.
Drivers will be up on the chip. The crew chiefs will have to be sharp as well, but no threat of rain in the forecast. So let's head trackside and get things going.
And race fans, please remain standing as the South Carolina Air National Guard, Honor Guard, presents our nation's colors. Please welcome First Baptist Church of Darlington, Pastor Ken Sandiford, as he offers tonight's invocation.
May we pray. Father, we thank you for this beautiful day. We pray now that you would be with our mothers as we celebrate with them this weekend. May you bless each one. I pray now that you would allow us to honor our military as they serve us and their families as they sacrifice to give us this freedom. We pray for the drivers. We pray for the crew as they compete for the victory. And we thank you for your victory in Jesus' name. Amen.
Now please welcome Tech Sergeant John Norman and Staff Sergeant Kenneth Shelton from Pope Air Force Base as they perform our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Well done, gentlemen. The challenging 1.3-mile track, 501 miles to decide it, and we'll get the engines rolling in a moment. NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by McDonald's. I'm loving it. It's almost go time for the Showtime Southern 500 live from Darlington here on Fox.
I wonder who's going to host that show.
Inside NASCAR. It's a wow, look at that. Terrific. I just kind of pulled that out of my wallet on the way in.
You're gonna need a bigger mirror.
Hey, Jimmy Johnson on his car with paying great respect to the inaugural class for the Hall of Fame, Bill France Sr. Jr. with Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Johnson. Tuesday, the grand opening, and you could be a part of it. Go to NASCARHall.com, and the ceremony May 23rd as well. You can catch that on Speed. And again, those of you trying to catch the conclusion of the Yankee Red Sox game that earlier was rain delayed on our Fox cable partner FX, you see in the 8th inning at Boston, the Yankees with that 8-3 lead. And don't think I missed that big mirror line. I could reflect it off your Verizon checklist because I'm sure there's a lot of them tonight. You had to narrow it down to 3.
Right. Only down to 3. I mean, the key right here, restarts are a must for these guys tonight, folks. If they don't jump on the guys in front of them and take advantage of the restarts when they're all gathered up, they're not going to make any headway tonight. Pit crew, you've got to be sharp. You've got to be sharp, not only strategy, helping your driver get on pit road, a lot of things. Got to have that, and track position, last but not least, you have got to have it at the end of this race. If you want to be up close to the front, you got to do everything I said at the first 2 to begin with.
All right, so track position, you want to be there at the end, but what about guys, Carl Edwards, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch that are starting way back? How soon do they start to make their move? Can they?
Very much at the beginning of this race. They need to jump on these guys early, try to gain some position, but like Darrell said, you've got to be smart and realize you're racing the racetrack as well as your competition.
So Kevin Harvick, who's our points leader, is back a little bit. In the drivers' meeting, Jeff, they did show a video and cautioned them about entering pit road and the rules and the guidelines and being respectful of other drivers, but obviously accomplishing what you need to.
It's very difficult to get on this pit road. We're going to see some guys probably make mistakes, even though they told them that.
Mark Martin, who won the race last year, anxious to get things started, as are we. Moms, a part of this celebration on the eve of Mother's Day. So let's head trackside and hear what they have to say.
In honor of Mother's Day weekend, I want to introduce you to some really special moms. I've raced in every Southern 500 since 1985, and my favorite memory of those was when my mom told me to start my engine. Ladies, will you give your sons that command?
Oh, yeah. Sons and gentlemen, start your
Michael Waltrip helping the moms out. Will Tony Stewart win here for the first time? Can Junior end his losing skid? The answer's live 501 miles away.
It is egg-shaped, it can be aggravating, it can be thrilling. It is Darlington Raceway, and since 1950, it has thrilled NASCAR fans and drivers, and crew chiefs, and owners alike. Tonight, they'll race 500 miles on the Lady in Black, 85 degrees, track temperature 97. You walk outside and it feels like there's a blowtorch on you that will not shut off. Fortunately, the air conditioning's on high above the speedway. Hi, everybody. Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, and Darrell Waltrip with you for what is going to be a great night of racing. Rookies don't win here. Aggressive, brash drivers don't win here, Darrell. Smart guys do.
Yeah, back in the day, you had to be a tough guy. You had to tough it out. Now you got to be a smart guy. The guy that can manage his emotions tonight, keep everything intact. You're going to scrape the wall. You're going to get cut off. You're going to get hung up in traffic. The guy that can maintain his cool is the guy that can win this race. And that usually favors some of the older, more experienced veteran drivers.
But strategy may throw us a little twist. Last night in the Nationwide Series race, Denny Hamlin won on old tires. Worn tires, ran his fastest lap of the race, Larry, 3 laps from the finish. So do you want tires or do you want track position?
Well, Mike, I think a lot depends on how your car is handling. There's no question it's going to be like a chess game down there on pit road. Jeff Hammond talked about it a couple of times in the pre-race show. You've got to kind of put out of your mind what happened these first 10 races, because Darlington is an animal all of its own. And I think we'll see strategy all over the place at the end of the race. And there's going to be a lot of pit stops. There's going to be a lot on the shoulders of these pit crews, because it's a lot easier to pass them on pit road than it is the racetrack.
Always race this joint. I wanted to go just fast enough to win. That's it.
Here's a look at the starting lineup for tonight's 500-miler. And as we work our way to the front, that's where you'll find Jamie McMurray with his 5th career pole in his 269th race and his first pole at Darlington. Darrell, who are we going to dial up?
Let's see if we can get Denny Hamlin on the headset here. Hey, Denny Hamlin, it's DW up in the Fox Sports booth. You got a copy, my man?
10-4, yes, sir.
Hey, buddy, you had a long, hard day yesterday, but you capped it off with a win. How you feeling tonight? Are you good to go?
Yeah, definitely. The benefit of having a night race tonight is we had all day to kind of recover, so it's charged up and pretty much ready to go tonight.
Yeah, everybody I talked to was saying keep an eye on that 11 car. He's the man to beat tonight. So looks like you got a good car. Looks like you got a good starting position here. Maybe you have some good luck.
Yeah, 10-4, thank you. Top 10 start position is a win for us, so yeah, this is good.
All right, my friend, stand on it. Thanks for talking.
Tonight's race is brought to you by Budweiser, the beer that starts with full flavor and ends with a crisp, clean finish. Budweiser, it's what we do.
Let's take a look at our FedEx Understanding the Race. This is the trends or the patterns that crew chiefs will look at. These are the past 9 spring races here, NASCAR on Fox. The first caution, average lap 20, but in those 9 races, 5 times in the first 10 laps. The longest green flag run, average 87 laps, almost guaranteed we'll probably have at least 1 set of green flag stops. The number of cautions, average 9, 17 last year. And the last caution, average lap 294, that's 73 laps to go. Based on 2010, no way, throw that pattern away.
For our DirecTV head-to-head knockout pit whip, let's start with Matt Yoakum.
Mike Kevin Harvick moved to the final round through a very tough turn 3 bracket that included Jimmy Johnson, Juan Pablo Montoya, and Greg Biffle, just to name a few. He's poised for a huge night. A win tonight would be big, not only for the Kevin Harvick Foundation, but also for the record book. Harvick's never won a cup race here at Darlington. His car, Gil Martin, his crew chief told me, was so good in final practice, they quit 30 minutes early. So keep an eye on the 29 tonight. Chris Devoda.
Clint Boyer, one of the drivers who had to go to a backup car, and it was a hit that stung because they lost the car that they did the tire test with here, a car that was set up perfectly with extra time and tweaks for this track. Now, they were allowed to come in an hour early today to work on the backup. Clint just got on the radio and said, man, it's amazing how dirty this track gets even overnight. This will be a challenge for Clint Boyer and the rest of the field today. Dick?
Martin Truex loves this place, and why not? He's had a lot of success here, but he starts in the 33rd position. He says the car he is racing tonight is every bit as good as the one he had here last year when he led 61 laps. He's also got a pit crew that can pick up some positions for him. Let's go to Steve Burns.
Now, you just heard Denny Hamlin say qualifying up front is a win for them. He got his 3rd Nationwide Series win last night on this track, and the really great news for Denny Hamlin is his car doesn't have a scratch on it. His crew chief, Mike Ford, said that they were one of the most consistent cars throughout practice, and a lot of teams did not figure that out. Mike?
Thanks, Steve. For those of you hopeful to watch the conclusion of the Yankees-Red Sox game, it is on cable channel FX with the Yanks leading top of the 8th. Check your channel guide to locate FX on your cable or satellite system. Those of you who are with us on Fox, settle in because you're going to enjoy a great race at one of NASCAR's most historic and oldest super speedways. 500 miles tonight, 367 laps. They'll have to pit at least every 60 to 64 laps. Kyle Busch in a backup car will start in the rear.
DW, 500 miles in honor of all the moms in our lives, but I promise you this will not be a nice lady tonight. Reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time.
Here we go.
Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing, boys!
Jamie McMurray wastes no time in establishing his lead from the pole. Jeff Gordon second, wants the lead on lap 1, coming to the inside at the line. He's got it.
He gets those 5 points for leading the lap.
It'll be a while before they see Jeff Gordon again. I tell you,
I don't know.
Going on. Oh, he's fighting back.
But Gordon in the 24, he gets that run on the high side off turn 2.
But see what happens to McMurray. He needed to fall in behind Jeff, and he wouldn't have lost his second spot to the 83 car, Brian Vickers. You can't race people over there. You lose your momentum.
Toyota Chevy. McMurray tries the cross under again. No luck. He falls in line third. Here comes David Rudiman in the 00.
The reason he keeps getting people up on his back bumper trying to pass him is because he needs to fall in line and pick his speed back up.
And when you don't run the high side, it almost bogs the car down. That's the reason they get such a run on it.
Rudiman to the inside of McMurray, looking into turn 3 for third, and again they single file it on a track that has a narrow racing groove. Ryan Newman part of that lead pack. Here comes Denny Hamlin in that black number 11 to the inside of Marcus Ambrose, and the 9, the Bud car of Casey Kane.
I think we'll hear a lot out of that 11 car of Denny Hamlin. You go back to the 2 practices yesterday, I think by far the best car on race runs. His car was just a little too tight, wouldn't turn qualifying.
Hamlin in 9th, ahead of the Dodge of Brad Keselowski and Jeff Burton, a 2-time Darlington winner.
You know, we're going to have just a little bit of a glare issue as we head off down the back straightaway here for a little while until that sun gets down. That's going to affect the vision for a few laps. Won't be long, but will affect them right now.
Series champion Jimmy Johnson, the 48, just passed his teammate Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jimmy's gained 4 positions since the start. He began 22nd. He's now 18th.
We talked about backup cars in the pre-race. That's a backup car for Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 88, and he actually slapped the wall even with that backup car.
Jeff Gordon started second. Last week, he finished second. As Darrell said in the pre-race, 3 times before, this chassis has finished
second.
So where's he going to end up tonight?
Well, no disrespect to the man. I love him, and he deserves a win if anybody does. But I just wonder who might beat him tonight if Denny Hamlin can get up there and do it, because he just had to fight off somebody every week.
Hamlin now side by side with Keselowski. They're fighting for 8th, 9th, 10th with Marcus Ambrose.
You look up there, that second car of Marcos Ambrose, the 47 car in front of Denny Hamlin. That's a backup car for Marcos. In fact, the first laps he turned in that car was qualifying.
It just takes a few laps here to get things sorted out, particularly if you raced last night. Some of these guys were in their nationwide cars last night. It's going to take a few laps to adjust to the heavier, more clumsy COT car.
Ryan Newman drops a spot in the 39. Casey Kane moves up 1 to 6th.
Plus, it has 200 more horsepower, which makes it harder to manage as well.
A super speedway that races much like a short track. 1 1/3 miles, or 1 3/8 rather, is the distance around Darlington Raceway.
You see Jimmy Johnson.
I'm surprised going forward. Definitely 3 and 4 is tight.
That's Jimmy Johnson, the 48 car, talking to his crew chief, Chad Canals. But I'm not totally surprised at that. What he's saying, his car is tight. It's not turning when he turns the steering wheel. He's surprised he's going forward, but you can go around here a lot quicker with a little tug on the steering wheel than you can with the back end coming out.
I just think about last week. Jeff Gordon was complaining about his car was terrible. He took the lead and drove away from everyone.
Darrell, what about the glare going down that backstretch? Sunset is not for another 20 minutes tonight.
Actually, when you come off turn 2 right there, start down the back just for a little ways, that's going to bother you.
There you see Casey Kane in the 9 just took the 5th position away from Mark Martin in that 5 car, the winner from here a year ago. Matt, what's going on with Mark Martin?
Well, nothing yet on the radio. If you look back to last year, several drivers told me the thing that stood out to them about Mark was he got into a very solid pace and he raced as fast as he wanted to go, knowing that there's 367 laps in the race, and right now we're only at lap 11. But this team, like a lot of others, struggled with the switch from the wing to the spoiler. They've tried some different things setup-wise this weekend, and it has really come to life. Mark and the spoiler qualified well, practiced well, and currently running well.
If you look where Mark Martin is, what do you see in front of him? Nothing. What do you see behind him? Nothing.
Found himself a nice pocket.
Get in that safe zone and ride.
I think he's one of those guys that understands 90% for 90% of the race.
Jeff Burton and Jimmy Johnson on the move. We'll update that when we come back.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Sprint, proud sponsor of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, by the all-new 2011 Super Duty, built Ford tough. By the Home Depot, more saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. And by FedEx, we understand you need reliable shipping options. FedEx.
Our built Ford Tough track facts include 82 cars that started the 1951 Southern 500. That's a NASCAR record. 58 of those failed to finish. That is also a record. In 1965, Ned Jarrett won the Southern 500 by 14 laps over Buck Baker, and that too is an all-time NASCAR record. Jarrett was driving a car that was built Ford Tough. Jeff Gordon leads Brian Vickers by 2.6 seconds as he puts a lap on Max Pappas. Jimmy Johnson has gained 9 positions, up to 13th from 22nd. Jeff Burton has gained a couple, and Kevin Harvick has gained 8 spots. What we call the Darlington stripe is when you get up against the wall, and already we've had a couple of takers. Watch the 6.
That's a pretty hard lick. You see the paint and stuff flying off the safer barrier there, so that tells you he hooked it pretty hard.
David Reagan has made a pit stop to correct that damage, and David Gilliland has also been up against the wall.
Watching these lap times, even in traffic, Jeff Gordon is still just a skosh better than most everybody else. Vickers is a little right there with him.
Add Reed Sorensen to the Darlington stripe list as he brings his Braun Racing Toyota to pit road.
This is about the right amount of time, Larry. What have we been? We've been 20 laps. About time for you to start sliding around.
4th place, Jamie McMurray, David Rudiman.
Yeah, this is when you're going to have handling issues, you're going to start to really get into them. These things are really going to start to slide around. There's still a lot of sunlight on the racetrack. Racetrack still doesn't have a lot of grip.
It's not going to cool down much. It was 85 at the start of the race. Only going to be in the high 70s by about 8 or 9 o'clock tonight.
Sorensen took his car to the garage as we watch Rudiman try to hold on to the 5th spot against Ryan Newman. Now what Montoya and the 47 have made contact. Marcus Ambrose, the Australian, versus the Colombian in the red car.
These guys are battling for 15th position.
Ooh, Marcos just got real loose. I think he drove in there real hard, knowing Montoya in the 42 was right on his tail. Maybe overdrove the corner, got the car loose.
If Jeff Gordon leads 18 more laps of this race, he's led all of the first 22 so far. He will pass Cale Yarborough for 5th on the all-time Darlington lap leader list. Steve?
Yeah, Mike, but Darrell's right. Starting to hear drivers now complain about the race cars. Now, a moment ago, Jeff Gordon said, I'm going up the hill in turn 1, but I'm good off the exit of turn 2. But then just seconds ago, he said, Steve, talking about crew chief Steve Letarte, I feel like I've worn out my right front tire already.
Steve, the one thing I do know is the 2 cars behind him, in particular Brian Vickers in that 83 car, is definitely 2 or 3 tenths quicker than Gordon in the 24 right now, and has been. You can see he's really starting to gain on Jeff Gordon.
I can't imagine he wore out the right front tire. We've been here, they've had the race last night all through practice. We've seen no indication of any kind of tire wear.
I don't think he's probably worn out, Darrell. I just think it's lost its grip. It's not gripping the racetrack.
If he was tight, Larry probably had a lot of buildup in that right front air pressure, and it's just made the tire not work.
You saw the gap from Brian Vickers back to Casey Kane. Toyota against Ford for 2nd and 3rd. Now Kane is 5 seconds off the lead, but he's running laps 0.2 of a second quicker than race leader Jeff Gordon right now.
Yeah, he and Brian Vickers in the 83 running second. They're running fairly comparable laps, which is definitely quicker than Jeff Gordon. This is McMurray here, the one car, our pro sitter. He's in 4th right now. He's about 3 or 4 tenths slower than Jeff Gordon right now.
That's the top 4 with Denny Hamlin rounding out the top 5. Then Ryan Newman, Jeff Burton, Mark Martin, Brad Keselowski, and David Rudem in the top 10. 25 laps in.
This just in, Jeff Gordon is leading the race.
Jeff Gordon leads all active drivers with 7 Darlington wins. He's led every lap of this race after Jamie McMurray started from the pole, but his Hendrick Chevy teammate Jimmy Johnson has not had an easy go of it. Johnson currently in 13th, and look at car number 48 on the right rear corner as he battles teammate Dale Earnhardt Jr. Here's what happened.
I've been watching these guys on this end of the speedway particularly, and there is absolutely no room between, and you see Johnson just gets loose all by himself right there. If we get a shot here, let's watch him one more time and see that car just snaps around. We saw a number of cars spin out like that.
Up front, Brian Vickers has caught Jeff Gordon for the lead, and just in front of Gordon, the 99. Carl Edwards is usually a contender. Carl has not won a race this year, and Steve, he's struggled all weekend here.
And Mike, a lot of trouble for Carl Edwards right now as far as the handling goes. He said the front end was chattering across the turns, and he also said he's having problems with his rear axle.
Yeah, the steer in the rear axle wants to pitch me sideways once I get to the entry to 1. But everywhere other than that, the front tires just don't have a lot of grip.
10-4, a little loose heading up into 1, tight everywhere else.
Keep that thing clean. People are starting to bounce off the wall now. Just hang tough. Race to racetrack.
Well, we saw they did a ton of work on this car during the 2 practice sessions yesterday. Changed the rear end housing. Carl said in an interview, "I am so slow through the middle of the turns, I can't pick the throttle up, and I'm getting killed on speed." And they don't look like they've helped it much.
Carl Edwards at work, putting a lot of wheel into it going in the corner.
And look at that concentration. I mean, he is just focused. He finally gets a chance to look behind him, see if anybody's on his tail, which they are.
And somebody is. It's Casey Kane, the 3rd place car, the number 9. You're riding with Casey as he comes up to lap Edwards.
You could see how much quicker that Casey Kane in the 9 that we're riding with could get back to the throttle than Carl Edwards in the 99 there.
And this is the end of the racetrack here in the 1 and 2 end where Carl said he was really struggling. Right through here, just no speed whatsoever. See right there, Casey gets a run on him, and here he goes, and Carl waves, says, "Go, dude, get off my bumper."
Well, if you're loose getting in the corners, we saw in qualifying, you're running almost 190 miles an hour on fresh tires. You do not need someone tucked up behind you.
A lot of the Ford faithful riding with Casey Kane tonight. Ford's not been to victory lane since last October at Talladega Superspeedway. All of the other 3 makes in NASCAR have won this year.
The problem right now that Jeff Gordon has, every car he gets to is he's trying to put him a lap down, and they're holding him up. And here goes Vickers in the 83 to make the first pass on Gordon in this race.
Here's the thing. You got one guy that really wants to win, and you got another guy that really wants to lead right now. Brian Vickers wants to lead, and the guy in front of him, that guy he's passing right there, that's his teammate. I think he'll probably move out of his way.
Scott Speed gives Vickers, former Nationwide Series champ, plenty of room.
And I think this will do Brian Vickers and that 83 team so much good, because they made the chase last year, but it almost appeared they used it all up getting there. They had a dismal 10 races, and really and truly 2010 hadn't started much better.
Larry, he's looking for a highlight. Brian Vickers is. He just got one.
Well, he finished 16th here last year in the number 83. That's his best ever Darlington finish. And when he comes around to the stripe, Brian Vickers will have led more laps tonight at Darlington than in his whole Sprint Cup career. 2. Brian Vickers a second ahead of Jeff Gordon. Casey Kane now on Gordon's bumper for second place as things heat up. 40 laps in at Darlington Raceway.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Budweiser. Join Budweiser as we support America's troops with a $250,000 donation to the USO. You can help our efforts when you buy a Casey Kane Armed Forces die-cast car. Visit Budweiser.com for details.
You're looking at the first Southern 500. 75 cars started 3 abreast to take the green flag in 1950. 6,000 folks in the grandstand, another 3,000 in the infield. So many cars blew out tires, they asked the fans in the infield if they could borrow the spares from out of their passenger cars. Curtis Turner made 24 stops for tires. The winner, Johnny Mance, made none. More on that later. First caution of the night. Michael McDowell gets into the wall. You'll see his white number 55 come into the picture and up into the fence.
Thing had a look that maybe it had a tire going down. That thing just shot straight to the right.
Boy, sure did, but that can happen in the second turn, I can tell you.
The pits are open. How about Krista with 6th place Jeff Burton?
Yeah, Mike, Jeff Burton was flying on the racetrack. His race car is a little bit tight. It's actually tight everywhere, but the exit is what they're going to focus on. They're going to do that with air pressure adjustment on the left side. 4 tires for the 31. Matt?
Meanwhile, the 83 of Brian Vickers, he's in the center of your screen. He says he was tight down at 1 and 2. His spotter told him probably early on because he was hitting the splitter. Meanwhile, the 9 of Casey Kane, chassis adjustment, slight one because he was loose on entry, Steve.
Matt, Jeff Gordon says he's tight everywhere, especially when he tries to get on the gas. A track bar adjustment for Jeff Gordon and 4 tires. He's on his way.
Bit of a log jam exiting. Gordon edges McMurray, or does he, coming off pit road. NASCAR has a high-speed camera there, and so do we. Who was first off pit road? Well, the pole sitter Jamie Mack has the first pit, and he's out of there.
Another close finish at Darlington.
Turns 1 and 2 at Darlington, closest to the bottom of the screen, a big wider radius than turns 3 and 4. That makes this a tough track, as you see from our aerial coverage, brought to you by DirecTV. For the most sports in HD, call 1-800-DirecTV. A second pit stop for Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, you can see they're trying to make the repairs on that right rear quarter panel. We showed him getting loose down in turn 3 and 4. And Jeff, I think, you know, you're running the speeds here that you're running. This is pretty critical to get this area fixed.
It really is, Larry. You know, NASCAR worked on, when they changed the rear spoiler, of extending that quarter panel. And the reason for that is to get some side force, to keep the car where it doesn't get loose down in the corner. And here at Darlington, you can't afford for that back end to be dancing around. They're working on that quarter panel to make sure they don't lose the handle as cars as they go deeper in the race.
Also on this caution, Robbie Gordon stayed out on track and did not pit the first time around to lead a lap, pick up 5 bonus points, and try to stay in the top 35 in owner points. And Kyle Busch took only 2 tires. He came into the pits 24th, and he is now 15th.
You know, back up to Johnson real quick, Larry. They haven't really performed that well since the NASCAR went to the spoiler on these cars. They haven't won a race since they went to the spoiler. I just wonder if that's messing with these guys.
The free pass went to Carl Edwards. He was the first car 1 lap down, so he got to come around, and he's now back on the lead lap in his Aflac Ford. So we will restart with 31 cars on the lead lap. About 8 more 1 lap down, and off the track, Dave Blaney, Todd Bodine, and Reed Sorensen, who hit the wall earlier, one of 5 cars to get their Darlington stripe early tonight. Beautiful hot night in South Carolina as Jamie McMurray, who beat Jeff Gordon out of the pits to claim the lead, brings him down for the restart.
Now he's starting on the inside, and to me that might be a mistake. We'll see.
This is the first time we've had a double file restart at Darlington in the Sprint Cup Series.
Green flag at 50 laps complete, and McMurray takes off.
When you take off like that, it doesn't make any difference. 24, I don't know what happened to him. He just didn't go. That looks like last Saturday night.
I was going to say, one of his Achilles heel all year long has been his restarts.
3 wide down the back straightaway. As they race for 5th place, it's Denny Hamlin. Way down the inside, Newman was the meat in the sandwich. The 39 had to get hard on the brakes. Hamlin gets the spot, then Kane in 6th, Newman in 7th.
I think that's something those guys, Hamlin and some of the guys that raced last night, saw that was possible to do. Take that thing in on the apron, put a slide job on the guy, and get up in front of him and go.
Denny Hamlin won last night's Nationwide Series race here.
But back to that 3 wide down the back straightaway. Ryan Newman in that 39 has enough experience here. He knows somebody has to do some give and take, and he obviously did the giving there.
Bobby Labonte has hit the wall. And the number 71 Chevrolet.
Yeah, he's got a little more than a stripe down the right side of that car. You can see all the bars in the back of the car that are all bent in. In fact, he's got a tire down.
Yeah, and around he goes.
No caution yet.
You know what, Larry, as big as the apron is here, and a car just takes a slow spin like that, unless there's debris on the track.
Joey Logano spins off turn 4 and crashes the inside wall. That will bring out caution flag number 2.
Now, I wonder if it had anything to do with Bobby Labonte. Bobby Labonte had trouble off that turn just a lap before.
Well, let's first look at what happened to the former champion, Bobby Labonte, in the 71.
Here he is right here in the 71. Oh, that car just, I don't know any other way to explain it. Got in, did he get into Logano?
No, no contact, I don't believe. But now watch the orange Toyota of Logano do the same thing in the same place just 1 lap later.
That thing just came around. I mean, just snapped around just like Bobby Labonte's car did.
But Darrell, he looked awfully high in that corner right there coming through there that time.
Logano looking forward at Labonte.
See, Bobby's car just the back end snapped. Mike, I saw this in practice and qualifying on new tires. The cars would be a little squirrely for a lap or two on new tires.
It happened to Joe Nemechek in practice, and he climbed out of the car and said, I just don't know what happened. That doesn't happen.
And that looks like what happened to Bobby Labonte. He just snapped.
I think we'll see what happened to Joey Logano in this 20 car here going down into turn 3 and 4. You can hear him starting to really pedal the throttle. The thing just got loose with him.
Yeah.
Elliott Sadler snuck by on the inside there. And Logano, Matt, I don't know how hard a hit that was to the inside wall, but he got it pretty good.
He tagged it pretty well, Mike. As you see the replay, Greg Zipadelli asked him what happened. He said the car was just way too loose. He said, was it the track in that section or just the car? He said just the car, too loose.
Logano and Labonte on pit road as we work caution flag number 2. Scott Speed will get the free pass. Red sky at night, racer's delight in Darlington County. 56 laps in as we get set for the second restart of the night. On the last restart, Jamie McMurray got quite a jump on Jeff Gordon, who was lined up alongside in NASCAR's new for this year double file restart order. All lead lap cars to the front, and Gordon was not happy about it.
Okay, I now want to ask NASCAR how long they're going to put up with this one car jumping the start. That's twice now he's jumped the start.
That's Jeff Gordon's view, but here's the replay of it. Look at the white line across the track at the bottom of your screen right there. There's the green flag in the air. Well, if Jamie got out ahead of Jeff, it might have been by a couple of feet.
Jamie McMurray went when he was supposed to go. Jeff Gordon did not.
Exactly. And the start of the race is totally different than the restart of the race.
Here's our Aflac Do You Know Quack trivia question. Aflac benefits protect against unexpected occurrences. For many cautions occurred during last year's Darlington spring race. How many cautions? Text your answer to 36888. And the rules are on the screen. Text your answer A, B, C, or D. That's 10, 15, 17, or 23 cautions, A, B, C, or D. You could win a replica helmet autographed by Carl Edwards. FoxSports.com/Aflac Racing has more details. Now, and we're ready to go green. Jamie Mack against Brian Vickers on the front row this time, with Gordon third, Burton fourth.
Vickers has to get to the line first. Oh, McMurray's on the
McMurray,
outside.
yeah. Jamie took the inside. Jamie McMurray in the 1 was the leader, but Vickers did get going good on the restart, but that high line just keeps working on these restarts.
Jeff Gordon right behind McMurray jumped out of the pack for second. Denny Hamlin in the 11 is up for third. Vickers is fourth, and Jeff Burton fifth.
Didn't take Hamlin long to finally find his way up to the front.
A lot of smoke out of, was that Vickers' car? You don't suppose he over-revved it coming up through the gears?
I'd say that looks like tire smoke. Okay. You get low air pressure, you know, you get that real low air pressure. You're going to see that a little bit, I think.
See from the right rear as Jeff Burton hunts him down. And we're told that a look at the restart showed contact. Now watch from Denny Hamlin. Look at the 2 cars ahead. Jeff Gordon 24, Brian Vickers 83.
There you go.
We know where the smoke's coming from now. That left front fender off the 83 of Vickers.
That is a most vulnerable tire on the car. That tire leans out with the camber. And if it starts rubbing on the sidewall, that tire, it doesn't last long. We've seen it a couple of times already this year.
I think we saw it with Jimmy Johnson last week at Richmond. But you know, Mike, you mentioned that 31 car of Jeff Burton. We watched him yesterday. Of course, he's won twice here as he goes by Vickers or works on Vickers. This will be for the 4th spot. He's like Mark Martin. He understands how you run this race in this racetrack.
Also on the restart, back at 17th place, there was contact between Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88 and Martin Truex in the Napa car. Oh, Paul Menard goes for a spin, turn 2, and down the back straightaway. Caution number 3.
Now that was created by a chain reaction. A couple of cars got up there in front of Menard. He slowed down. He got run over.
He was running back in the 26th position.
No damage. Tires down.
Watch that bright yellow, number 98.
Up here's where this starts. So the 98 or the 43 and the 78 make a little contact. Now you see here's the 77, a Hornish, and when Paul Menard in the 98 tried to stay off of him, he got spun out.
Yeah, Tony Stewart in the 14, it just started stacking up, gets into the back of him.
So much contact, it's hard to show it all. Let's go back to what we were going to show you. Watch the AMP and the Napa car.
Bam.
Wow, that's Martin Truex trying to stay away from A.J. Allmendinger in that green car on the inside.
It's pretty hard contact on that right front fender of Truex in the 56.
It's just such a narrow racetrack that, you know, they just run out of racing room.
Got a lot of asphalt, but not much room to race on.
Exactly. Very narrow.
Darlington Raceway right alongside Highway 151 and the Ramsey's Minnow Pond outside what's now turn 4. That's why the track's shaped the way it is. It's kind of egg-shaped, and it's a tough one. 62 laps complete in the Showtime Southern 500 at Darlington.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Napa. Napa Know-How. By Nationwide Insurance. Call or visit us online for a quote today. By AT&T. Rethink possible. And by Lipitor.
Working the 3rd caution of the night here at Darlington. And our Aflac Do You Know Quack trivia quiz question. How many cautions occurred in last year's Darlington Sprint Cup race? The correct answer is C, 17 caution flags last year.
It's a very special number, isn't it?
Yes, sir. It certainly was in 1989 at the Daytona 500.
Look at that wall and look at the mess already. That was pristine when we started the race because a crew of 8 stayed 6 hours till 4 in the morning and used 100 gallons of paint to repair the wall after last night's 147 lap dust up, and it looked all beautiful when we started the race.
All for naught.
Jeff Gordon is again poised alongside Jamie McMurray for the restart, and we listened in to the 24 team.
Good racetrack, dude. When I was on the outside of him, I let off. You can't go in there like that. That's why this place is called Too Tough to Tame, Lady in Black. So, you know.
But see, he's thinking. He's thinking about how tough his place is. You don't want to make a mental mistake and do something dumb that'll take you out of the race, and he's thinking about that.
Ready for the restart. David Stremme, the free pass on this caution. Green flag. McMurray leads them across the stripe and will lead them off into turn 1.
And here comes that 11 car. Pretty much across the board, Larry. Mike, that 11 car is what everybody said put your money on.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin, of course, he won the Nationwide Series race. Actually sat on the pole and won that race last night.
Hamlin now in second behind McMurray. Gordon third. Here comes Jeff Burton. Has a look under Brian Vickers. Thinks better of it for fourth. Back in sixth, Casey Kane. Seventh, Kurt Busch. Eighth, Ryan Newman. Then Montoya and Kenseth, the top 10.
Yeah, Matt Kenseth in that 17 car started back in the 29th position. A lot of his gains, we talked about it at the top of the show, was on that pit stop that group made. 13 seconds flat for 4 tires.
Jeff Burton in the 31 moves up for fourth. And Casey Kane coming on the inside. Kane's going to grab the spot here as Vickers backs up a bit. Now he may fall victim to the 2 of Kurt Busch as well. Matt?
And Ryan Pemberton's crew chief looking at the video. Everything all right with that front tire?
Well, you know, it's not better when it's pushed in. We're a little tight. Certain aerodynamics on it a little bit. But you know, hopefully we can get another 15 lap run in here where everybody pits. We can get it fixed here on pit road and get her back out front.
Brian, say anything about the track taking a big swing as far as what you saw from practice?
Yeah, I think so. I think as soon as the sun set, the track started coming to us. We were a little tight there the first 15, 20 laps. And then as soon as the sun went down, we started freeing back up. So we're tight right now, but that's because of the fender.
Thanks, Matt. Denny Hamlin hunting the lead as the action is back here. Ryan Newman had a try on the 83 of Vickers. And that brought Montoya right up to Newman, who's going to lose instead of gain a spot.
That's what happens, though. You lose your momentum. If you can't make the pass, you have to lift out the throttle. Here comes the guy behind you with a full head of steam, and he goes motor right by.
Yeah, the straightaways here start about the middle of the corner.
Exactly, Larry. You got to carry that momentum off the corner, or else you're going to get passed.
There's our points leader, Kevin Harvick, in that 29 car. Started back in the 35th position. He has now cracked the top 15 up to 14th.
Kevin Harvick started 35th, has worked his way forward under green to 14th place. This will not be a blowout like the Yankees victory over the Red Sox, 14-3 the final. Mark Teixeira, 3 home runs, 5 RBIs. We want to welcome those of you who were watching the conclusion of the game on FX to Darlington, South Carolina, where Jamie McMurray started on the pole. Jeff Gordon led the first 37 laps. Brian Vickers went out front for 9 circuits, and then McMurray back in command, although he's had a mirror full of Denny Hamlin since this last restart.
Ever since the sun went down, we picked up right around a second as far as lap times are concerned. Fast laps at 28.58. Right now we're racing at a 28.88. So we went from the 29s, middle of the 29s, down into the 28s just by the sun going down.
In the pre-race, we heard a little sarcasm from Kyle Busch, who had to go to the back, not because of the timing of our interview, but because he was in a backed-up car. He started in back there. He didn't stay there long.
No, he didn't. He started in the 43rd position in a race car because, remember, he crashed qualifying. So the first laps he turned with this car was when we dropped the green flag, and Dave Rogers, his crew chief, decided on that first caution to go with just 2 right side tires. And Dick, they're almost about to crack the top 10, sitting in 12th.
For the majority of the passes, certainly that 2-tire change was very helpful, but Busch himself has been driving the wheels off that thing. Early on in the night, the car was pushing so bad he was afraid he was going to chew the right front off it. They fixed that problem on the pit stop, and Busch motoring to the front. Don't be surprised to see him lead this thing before the night is over.
Well, he passed 8 cars by taking 2 tires, and he's passed 4 cars since.
The car that won the race last night, same tires on the Nationwide cars we got tonight, went 82 laps on left side tires.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. 18th, staying 1 spot ahead of Martin Truex. Let's check in his pit. Krista?
Well, Mike, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has something here at Darlington this year that he didn't have last year. Crew Chief Lance McGrew. This is the last track where the two hadn't worked together. It's all cycled through now. I asked Lance McGrew today, how much of an impact is that? He said, it's huge. We come to these tracks with a blank piece of paper. We have to learn what each other needs at each place. Last year, they were terrible. Their setup this year, 100% different.
And I'll be honest, Krista, he's actually running better than I thought he would based on what we saw in those 2 practice sessions yesterday.
Yeah, I heard him say in this car that the car had some speed in it. He just had to get comfortable with it, so that's good news.
Now, usually we leave Darlington and go to Charlotte. Not this year. It's Dover International Speedway next week. The race is on Sunday. Fox coverage begins at noon from the Monster Mile in the capital city of Delaware.
My favorite place, man. Concrete and crab cakes. As good as it gets, boys.
Just not at the same time.
Concrete by day and crab cakes by night.
10th place race. Matt Kenseth in the black number 17 says he likes driving a black car. Says it brings him good luck, and he is battling David Rudiman in the 00. Rudiman started 4th, Kenseth back in 29th. There you see Matt's progression up through the field.
And as I mentioned a while ago, a lot of that was on that pit stop on that first caution by that Todd Parrott-led crew.
You know, when you make gambles like that, Larry, to make it pay off, you got to have a pretty good race car. It doesn't do any good to do something like that if your car's junk. So if the driver says, I'm happy with the car, it gives you some options in the pits.
Now, we just saw Tony Stewart in that 14 car go by Greg Biffle in the 16. Now, Tony Stewart in the 14, they actually came back to pit road on that second caution, so his tire is just a little fresher than a lot of these guys he's racing right now.
Stewart started 24th. He's now up to 16th. Had a dismal night last Saturday in Richmond. Car was just never up to the speed of the race leaders.
Somebody's been into the back of that car. You can see the rear bumper all caved in.
That happened in turn 2 when he got into Paul Menard. Somebody got well hard in the back of him in that chain reaction.
But the good news is it's all in the back. It's not at the sides. You got to keep those sides straight.
Looking back from Denny Hamlin at Jeff Gordon, 2nd and 3rd place, closing up. They're about 1 second behind race leader Jamie McMurray.
And their lap times are about a couple tenths quicker than our leader McMurray in the 1.
Jamie Mack has led more laps tonight than he did in the entire 2009 season. His move back to his old team, Earnhardt Ganassi Racing, certainly has paid off well for driver number 1.
He's a happy driver now. Got a big Mac.
Checkered flag in the air. The 52nd Daytona 500 to Jamie McMurray.
You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
Caution is out. Turn 4. Greg Biffle, Martin Truex, and Jimmy Johnson. Pit road's open. Krista.
Jeff Burton chooses track position. 2 tires for the 31. Matt.
Right side tires, the call also for Casey Kane. Steve.
Matt, Jeff Gordon talking about taking just right side tires. Jamie McMurray in the 1 car says he's starting to get loose. Chassis adjustment in the right rear for Jamie McMurray.
Well, they only had about 20 laps on these tires from that when they all pitted on that first caution. It looked like to me a lot of guys went with just 2 tires, as you see right there.
A lot of guys did, and the one guy that didn't, it's going to really pay the price, is the 88 car of Dale Jr. He took 4, and it is going to put him way back in the field.
Watch the 16 of Greg Biffle at turn 4, and you'll see why this caution is out.
Here's a Biff up here in the 16. You see he gets loose, and he gets the car around. Truex looks like he tries to put the brakes on, maybe locks up the rear tires a little bit. He comes around. Jimmy Johnson in a 48 slams into the 56. I really think the 48 got the worst of this deal.
Yeah, you can see Truex gets loose, and then I think Jimmy Johnson tried to get on the brakes, and his car was a little on the free side as it was, and he just gets into the side of the 56. A lot of damage on the right front of the 48.
Johnson was turning hard when he and Truex made contact, and that bent the steering on the number 48.
Yeah, you can see how he's got the wheels turned right there.
Boy, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was right behind that.
Now watch Jeff Burton in the 31. Whoa. Try to turn in with Montoya as they tried to evade Robbie Gordon. And that's because they were coming out of the pits as Gordon was trying to get to his pit stall.
You can't, there's no safe place.
No.
It's just as dangerous in the pits as it is on the track.
Down to Chris Myers for an AT&T race break.
Thanks very much, Mike. And if you tuned in a little bit late, Mother's Day, and the mom said, gentlemen, start your engines. We had no caution in the first 44 laps, sliding into the wall. Then we had 3 cautions in the next 20 laps. And that Darlington stripe driver's earning it. And this is more than a stripe for Jimmy Johnson.
More than a stripe for Jimmy Johnson. Crew tried to make repairs early on.
Came in 10 points out of first place, sliding back just a little bit. And then Joey Logano having trouble maintaining things. And Brian Vickers and Jeff Gordon getting into it here on a restart or after a restart.
Yeah, it's a very close race here. We're always talking about give and take. Well, this time, Jeff Gordon took it from Brian Vickers.
And then the 4th caution, Martin Truex having some problems. Jimmy Johnson already has had a lot of activity tonight. And for a guy who wants to maintain that position at the top of the points, a lot of repair work on this car. But it's a marathon race.
It's a marathon race. That caution was created by this guy right here. Greg Biffle's car got loose. Martin Truex Jr. trying to avoid. Then Jimmy Johnson got caught up in it. He's got heavy damage to the right front of his car. It's going to make for a long night. And a lot of work have to be done on that 48.
5 leaders, 5 different lead changes, and Jamie McMurray has led the most laps, 38. Jeff Gordon right behind, 37. Tony Stewart, we talked about him hitting a bit of a slump. Now he's the leader.
He's the leader right now. I think he's looking for track position. Darian Grubb, they're kind of rolling the dice right now. They were on pit road just a few laps ago, so I think they elected basically to try to stay out and get that track position for him.
And moments before that last caution, we had of the top 7 cars, all 7 different race teams from Earnhardt, Ganassi, Gibbs, Hendrick, Petty, Penske, Childress, and Red Bull. First time that's happened at this point in a race this year. If you want to cast your vote for AT&T, the fastest pit crew of the year, the standings from last week on your AT&T phone, text the number for the crew you think is the fastest to 2258. Delivered by AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. This has been, with Jeff Hamlin, Chris Myers, an AT&T break. Let's go back up to Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
35 cars will restart on the lead lap as Bobby Labonte gets the free pass. Tony Stewart came down pit road with everyone else at lap 85, did not take any tires, so he is the leader with Jamie McMurray. Now, as Stewart has elected the outside of row 1 for the restart, Casey Kane, Jeff Gordon, Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, Montoya and Burton, Kenseth and Newman as we're set for the restart.
This will be interesting. These guys are kind of playing games on this restart right now, inside, outside. I think the outside's the best personally.
Now remember, Tony pitted on that 2nd caution, but he still has a fair amount of laps on those tires.
Under green, Stewart yarded McMurray by a car length, and getting into 1, Jamie Mack's all over his bumper with Gordon 3rd and Hamlin.
But when you got that high line, you get that good momentum as you come off of 1 through the middle of 1 and 2 and off down the back straightaway.
It is the leader's choice which lane to restart in. Everybody else then has to line up 2 by 2. McMurray wants the lead back. He's on fresher tires. Here comes Gordon. 3 wide at the line. Stewart leads the lap, and Gordon makes a power move to 2nd. Here's Hamlin on the inside. He wants 3rd from McMurray. He gets it. Matt, what about Tony Stewart's choice of no tires?
Well, Mike, apparently the reason why Tony Stewart got that great track position, congestion on pit road did not allow him to get to his pit box. He just did a drive-by, didn't even stop for fuel or tires, period.
Whoa, that's going to hurt him as they go on to this run. If nothing else, on fuel, Larry.
Well, he was on pit road at lap 55, so he already has about 35 laps on his tank of fuel right now.
Tony Stewart has won here in what's now the Nationwide Series, NASCAR's AAA Series, as Jeff Gordon wants the lead from Stewart, who slides up in turn 3. Gordon retakes the lead on a track that has been Stewart's Achilles heel in Sprint Cup racing. Prior to tonight, he'd only led a total of 9 career laps here.
Looks like they, Steve Letarte and that bunch fixed that 24 car up pretty good on that pit stop.
The whole field quickly goes single file behind Jeff Gordon. How about a Mother's Day weekend Saturday night? NASCAR on Fox. Crank them up. Gordon has just passed Cale Yarborough for 5th on the all-time lap leader list here at Darlington Raceway. Jamie McMurray now up for 3rd as Tony Stewart drops to 4th, and Kurt Busch puts his Dodge into the top 5.
And if Jeff wins one more race, he'll tie Cale Yarborough for the most wins at 83.
That 2 car of Kurt Busch, though, he's been on the move since the drop of the green flag. There he drives by Stewart for the 4th position, bringing Jeff Burton into 31 with him. The best I can tell, Tony Stewart in the 14 car, based on Matt Yoakum's report, has about 25 laps of fuel left in that car should we not get a caution.
Matt, how about Kurt Busch?
Well, Kurt Busch moving up a position. Basically, his car has been loose from the get-go. At one point, he said on a scale of 1 to 5, it's a 10 loose. They have progressively made the car better and better. Track bar and wedge adjustment, one-stop air pressure, and the last one, they made a track bar adjustment. He says the car is definitely improving, Krista.
Well, watch out for Jeff Burton. Nobody respects this track more. He actually tells a story about the old days when they used to show rookies a video that he said would scare the hell out of you, and then they would tell you you're stupid for even being here. Jeff Burton said he found that appealing.
That's true. Jeff Burton's first memories of Darlington were sitting in what is now the Turn 2 grandstand with his parents. As a young boy, that grandstand was covered with a tin roof then, and boy, it was loud. You had to really love stock car racing to spend an afternoon under its roof.
But that was definitely one of the signatures of Darlington Raceway, was that Turn 2 grandstand.
You know, when they talk about you had to be stupid to be here. You had to be stupid to be here back in the day when we pitted on the back straightaway, or what was in the front straightaway with no pit wall. You just stood in the garage area.
Now, Kurt's younger brother Kyle has been on the move. He is now up to 12th place in the number 18. Remember, he started 43rd, gained 6 spots with a 2-tire stop early, and then has been marching forward.
But Mike, they were in a box because of that 2-tire stop, because what they had to do on this last caution, along with just a few other cars like Dale Earnhardt Jr., they had to get 4 tires, and I think that has helped him here on the end of this run. That's the first time they had changed the left side tires on that 18 car.
100 laps next time by. Jeff Gordon has Denny Hamlin 2.5 seconds back, Steve.
And Mike, prior to the last stop, Denny Hamlin said, I need to be tightened up, so they added wedge in the left rear. But Denny just said seconds ago, we need to go back all the way on that last adjustment.
Clint Boyer off the pace onto pit road, unexpected.
And he was another one of the cars on that last caution that elected to go with 4 tires.
Krista, what's wrong?
Well, the last thing Clint Boyer said on the radio was that he was so loose going into the turns and really tight off of 4. So the handling had completely gone away, but this was completely unexpected. That was the last thing he had said on the radio. And as you see, he is on pit road. They're looking on the right side of the car. The right front is off. They're working around the left, checking out the fender damage. It's just the front ends that they're looking at right now, the left front and the right front.
Yeah, it looked like they were looking.
It looks like it's the left rear, guys, possibly.
They were looking to maybe even see if he had like loose lugs or something when he first came in.
something in the left rear, maybe a left rear tire going down. That can be real confusing to the driver.
Denny Hamlin is losing touch with the leader, Jeff Gordon, just a bit. 3 seconds is now the margin. Hamlin may be falling into the clutches of third place Jamie McMurray.
Remember when I said that you wanted to run the first 90% of this race at 90%? Jeff Gordon's running at 90% right now. I hate to see it when he gets in that last 10% and goes to 100. He's checking out on these boys.
Jeff Gordon has not won a race this year. He has come so close to winning. Twice he's been out front on the last restart of the race, but has failed to stand in victory lane so far. Not that we call that a failure. It's just they've come so close.
They have, and I'm looking at the lap times, Larry. He's got a couple of tenths in the bank right now on everybody in the field.
Yeah, he's running 29 20s and 30s, and Steve Burns, Jamie McMurray in third is running 29 50s and 60s.
Larry Mack, we just heard his spotter Keith Barnwell tell Jamie, Jamie led a lot of laps, as Mike pointed out. Jamie, take it easy, just race this racetrack. Good advice early.
Thanks, Steve. Clint Boyer believes that they have a brake line that has split. He's taken that car to the garage.
Now that just reminds me of Martinsville and his teammate, the 29 car of Kevin Harvick, who was our points leader going into that race. He had a left rear brake caliper problem.
Sam Hornish. Ooh. A little bit of damage on his 77. Add him to the Darlington stripe list.
And Sam was inside the top 15. He was running about 14th or 15th, but back to Clint Boyer, remember, he comes in here 12th in the points.
See what happened to Hornish, the IndyCar star, who came over to NASCAR a couple of years ago.
Just got up just ever so slightly, a little too high.
You just can't get out of it.
The wall just grabs you.
It's like a magnet. It grabs hold of your car and won't let go of it. The lady in black says, I gotcha.
10 cars with 11 Darlington stripes so far. That wall isn't as pretty as it was 106 laps ago. Sprint brings you an inside look at what's happening now. 112 laps inside the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Jeff Gordon, who is leading this race, has the fastest lap of the race. And Kyle Busch, who started 43rd, is the biggest mover. He has improved 34 positions up to 9th. For more NASCAR stats, in-car audio, and live race radio, check out NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile at sprint.com/speed. Here are the drivers who have gained the most positions since the start of this race.
And I'm going to tell you, our leaders right now are running 29 80s and 90s, and Kyle Busch is running 29 60s back there in the 9th spot right now.
Yeah, we dropped off right at a second. And it's, Larry, I was watching the lap times, and it's almost like they flipped the switch. They're running high 28s. All of a sudden, they started running high to middle 29s just in a couple of laps.
Elliott Sadler, 21st in his Ford lead lap car. Up front, Jeff Gordon, 3 seconds on Denny Hamlin right now as he tries to put a lap on Travis Kvapil in the 34. There's a look at the distance. Steve, what was Jamie Mack saying as we went to that commercial?
Yeah, as soon as we hit commercial, Mike, Jamie said to his crew chief, Kevin Mannion, I'm getting a little too loose. And Kevin said, I know, I'm watching you on TV.
Glad to provide a useful service. As he puts a lap on Kevin Conway, who goes 1 lap down.
Whatever he does, a pretty nice run to this point anyway. Led some laps already in the 1 car there, McMurray, and running 3rd right now, and competitive lap times right there with most everybody, looking good.
Last season was tough for Jamie Mack. He knew it would be his final season with Jack Roush, who had to contract per NASCAR rules from 5 teams to 4. And when Chip Ganassi said, I want him back. I want him back in one of our cars. McMurray responded with a Daytona 500 win and then never let up. He's been strong from the drop of the green flag to start the season. season.
Yeah, he has, and he's just comfortable now. He says he's very happy over there being back in it, kind of like being back at home, and it's really showing. He's doing a great job.
The last time a Roush Fenway car went to victory lane, Jamie McMurray was driving it at Talladega back in the fall. Of course, drove for Chip Ganassi, starting his Cup career, won the Rookie of the Year driving over there.
But, you know, quickly, one thing I think is helping him, and I noted this earlier on in the year, he's getting to run some of the nationwide races. He raced here last night, finished third. I believe that seat time is just helping his confidence. That's really important to him, and it's really paying off.
Kyle Busch in the 18 keeps picking him up and putting him down. He just passes Jeff Burton. That's for 8th place. Remember, Kyle started 43rd.
Now, just in front of Kyle Busch is Tony Stewart in that 14 car. And I got to stress, because they did not get fuel in that car the last stop, Matt, they have to be within about 8 to 10 laps of being forced to come to pit road.
Larry Mack, the clock is ticking. At this juncture, Darian Grubb is going to call Stewart to pit road at lap 125. The crew is readying here in the pit. Tony says the car, although lap time show he is mirroring leader Jeff Gordon's lap times or better, but they're running out of laps before they're going to have to fuel this race car. It's tight on both ends of the racetrack.
Thanks, Matt. So he'll be in 6 laps. Meanwhile, Clint Boyer has completed repairs on the 33. And there's Boyer, who is back in the race. They lost 19 laps making repair to the 33.
Now, what the 14 will have to go through, it's going to be about lap 145 to 150, about another 20 or so laps before all those leaders will have to come to pit road should we stay green.
And there's kind of a danger zone on pit stops. When you get near time for green flag stops, people are out there on old tires. Then some guys come in and get new tires, and they start, oh, he's coming to pit road right now.
Yeah, he's coming in about 3 laps earlier than we expected. Tony Stewart coming off track and onto pit road and giving up 17th place.
And this is the other part of the danger I was talking about. He's going to have new tires now. He's going to be about a second to a second and a half quicker than the other cars, and that closing rate can get you in trouble.
Oh, he'll be Superman on new tires. Matt?
Absolutely expecting a chassis adjustment for the 14 car. Stewart said he was worst out in turns 3 and 4, then 1 and 2. You can still see some damage from the rear of the bumper bar hanging down. A tear off as well. And the reason why, Mike, they came in about 3 laps early, he was starting to hit some lap cars and didn't want to take a chance on losing any more time.
So Stewart is back out. He's going to lose at least a lap, maybe 2. We'll mark it when he gets back up to speed.
Now, this can be one of the toughest pit roads to get on. We just watched David Gilliland completely miss pit road, but David Gilliland, Travis Quapple, they're having to come to pit road right now because they stayed out a while ago to take the waiver round.
And that's the downside to the waiver round. You can't pit if you take the waiver round. Then you got to hope that you get a quick caution to get caught back up.
All right, Tony Stewart gets back up to speed about 1 corner ahead of Jeff Gordon. So Stewart is now 1 lap down. Let's check with Steve.
Mike, Jeff Gordon said the balance on this car is the best it's been all night. He said it's a little edgy in 1 and 2, but crew chief Steve Letarte knew that this afternoon. He said Jeff will complain a little bit about 1 and 2, but 3 and 4 is where you pass race cars, and that's where I want Jeff Gordon to be fastest.
Well, he's not only the leader, Steve, he is the quickest car on the track right now. Jeff Gordon has built up a lead over Denny Hamlin of 4.5 seconds. .131 complete in Darlington. Jeff Gordon leading Denny Hamlin. And now that lead's beginning to come back down. It's now under 3 seconds. It has been as much as 4.5. Now Joey Logano making an unscheduled stop on pit road. And here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. as well. Krista?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. had said back on lap 93 that the changes to the car were good, but it's a flat tire that brings him in right now.
Logano got 4 tires and Sunoco race fuel. And all these cars will go a lap down as Robbie Gordon loses a lap to Jeff Gordon on the racetrack after brushing the wall earlier.
And we should see the leaders like Jeff Gordon in the 24 probably 10 to 15 laps from now as far as their pit window.
Now, Robbie Gordon trying to stay in the top 35 so he doesn't have to qualify on time. Watch the black car sweep out under Logano. He's going to make the 3-wide pass. Here he goes, and here comes turn 3.
I got him. Bye-bye, boys. Whoa.
Not quite.
Bam.
I think, as we put it, entrance speed exceeded grip level.
No caution. And now look at Paul Menard as Mark Martin loses a bit of traction.
Boy, that's a good bit of contact with that wall. But
wow.
That's some pretty heavy contact.
Inside at the 1943 with him.
You know what I noticed there, Darrell? About the time he looked in the rearview mirror is about the time you heard him have to backpedal that thing with the throttle pedal.
I think that was when 98 had him jacked up.
Mark is running 19th. Menard moves up to 18th. Denny Hamlin now within less than 2 seconds of leader Jeff Gordon. He is our Toyota top performer of the race, ahead of Kyle Busch, who has come from 43rd to 7th, Vickers and Rudeman. That lead is shrinking fast. 1.6 seconds now.
Yeah,
Hamlin's coming.
And that car right up in front of Jeff Gordon is the 48 car, his teammate. I got to think Jeff might have a little incentive to pick it up a skosh when he sees the 48 about to go a lap down.
He first has to get by Greg Biffle, Scott Speed, and Carl Edwards before he reaches Johnson. Biffle in 25th right now. And Greg Biffle about to go a lap down, Krista.
We told you Greg Biffle had that alternator issue. It was a wire that would need to be replaced. They knew they had to let this battery drain. We think that's the issue now with the 16. They're all just watching and waiting for that to go.
Now Mark Martin was in the top 20. You see some right side damage, and he just got quite a boot in the back end, and here he is on pit road, Matt.
And Mike, after he tagged the wall, Mark told Alan Gustafson, I think the toe may be knocked out as well. The car now extremely tight. Significant track bar adjustment plan. 1, 2, 3 rounds up on the track bar for the 5 of Mark Martin. As now they go to work on the left side. Air pressure change as well.
But you know, back to Greg Biffle in that 16 car, what Krista was talking about, these cars have a huge electrical draw. You've got the ignition, you've got blowers on all of the tires, you've got blowers on the drivers. So one of the things that I'm sure they're going to have Greg do is cut as many of those blowers off as he possibly can.
Well, I tell you what, this is typical Darlington. You remember that nice big lead that Jeff Gordon had over the 11 car? 11 car inching up on him a little bit. But when Jeff Gordon caught up with some pretty good race cars, he can't get by them, and look what it does. Here comes Denny Hamlin. This is classic Darlington. Fast car, you catch traffic, everybody that's running behind you catches up with you.
And Darrell, everybody's on worn tires. This is the longest stretch of green flag racing tonight, more than 50 laps, as they try to make it to a full fuel run before they have to come in under green. And Hamlin, you can see, has all but caught Jeff Gordon. On the stopwatch, it's only a quarter of a second.
And that's classic fresh tires on that 88 car, Dale Earnhardt Jr. versus the old tires.
Yeah, he can go on the apron if he wants to right now. And he probably will right down here.
Hey, you see that cape? He's Superman on 4 fresh tires.
Mr. Feelgood's 4 of them.
But this will be one of those places, once some of the guys start hitting pit road for green flag stops, you can't be far behind. You'll be giving up a lot of time. As we got Hamlin, he wants the lead in this race in that 11 car.
Denny Hamlin to the front, last night's winner in the Nationwide Series. Up close to the wall, but he ran Jeff Gordon down, caught him, and has now passed him. Hamlin becomes tonight's 6th different leader.
Now, this is not all that unusual for the 24 car, Larry. Run really, really fast on new tires, gets a pretty nice lead, then fades a little bit just before time to make the next pit stop. And he knows that's a good car. I like that.
And he knows his next pit stop is real close.
Brad Keselowski on pit road. Clint Boyer has gone back into the garage. As green flag stops continue sporadically here. Montoya passing Casey Kane, and that's for a top 5 position, 5th.
Yeah, you're going to have so many variances in the pit strategy, Mike. You got the wave around guys. You got the guys that took 2 tires. I mean, you got a lot of different strategies going on here.
Steve.
Yeah, Brad Keselowski took 2 tires on that last stop, Mike. His problem is he said he doesn't have traction at the rear of that number 12.
Bobby Labonte on pit road as Hamlin tries to distance Jeff Gordon. He's now put a lap on Greg Biffle. And Greg Biffle didn't go down easy. And now Allmendinger quickly cuts off to the pit lane. Another of the lead lap cars. AJ was 17th as he leads his teammate Elliott Sadler onto pit road. And a few more takers as they see how quick these cars are on fresh tires. Carl Edwards is in, and so is his Roush Fenway teammate Greg Biffle. Matt?
AJ Allmendinger in the 43 car, the Kings 43. He said absolutely no grip. They were going to make a big air pressure change to try to help him on exit. Also, they were going to push in a spring rubber on this stop. An extra second or two trying to help the handling and the balance of this 43 machine, and he is away. 15-5.
Makes a stop. Here comes Jamie McMurray leading half a dozen cars in. Kyle Busch is in, Dick.
Montoya now on pit road. He has had a terrific race tonight. He has not won since 2007, but tonight he has got a car good enough to do so. Minor adjustments to this race car. It is so close on a 4-tire change.
Matt Kenseth is in. Kurt Busch, Casey Kane, Menard, Brian Vickers, Bobby Labonte. Matt.
And the two Kurt Busch is in his car, still on the loose side, still trying to make a big dent. Air pressure change and chassis adjustment as well. Already completed for Busch. Left side tires going on. Meanwhile, Casey Kane, he's in as well. Chassis adjustment for the 9.
David Rudiman, Jeff Gordon on pit road, David Reagan, and Martin Truex. Green flag stops continue. Murray in and out. And David Stremme, Ryan Newman, and Regan Smith to the cars on pit road. Steve?
Mike, Jeff Gordon just said before hitting pit road that the right side of the car didn't feel comfortable to him. That's where the problem is handling-wise for Jeff Gordon. They'll get 4 tires this time.
Denny Hamlin gives up the lead to Kevin Harvick. Hamlin is on pit road. You see Harvick's number 29 out front. He'll be the 7th different leader tonight.
And that's good because that's 5 bonus points for our points leader.
Steve.
And Mike, Denny Hamlin stops on pit road. He wants to reverse the changes they made on the last stop. They're going to put wedge back in. They'll also reverse an air pressure adjustment and 4 tires as well. Last time they took 2.
Jimmy Johnson's in. Kevin Harvick will give up the lead. Coming to pit road along with Robbie Gordon and Marcus Ambrose. Matt?
Kevin Harvick, one of our head-to-head drivers. They were talking about possible chassis adjustments, waving it off on the 29. The crew guys up on the wall. Harvick trying to score his first Cup win here at Darlington. Remember, he was one of those guys on the last stop, took 2 tires, so he had about 25 extra laps on those left side tires. Solid stop so far. You can see some of the crew members with lights on their helmets just to help the hand-eye coordination of hitting the lug nuts on the left side because of the shadows.
Scott Speed is now the leader. He's the 8th different driver to lead this race as Harvick leaves the pits. And a little bit earlier, Bobby Labonte knocked over the commit cone at the entrance to pit road. So the cone is missing. Watch Harvick in the 29 entering pit road as Robbie Gordon drops down at about the same time. 3, 2, 1 marks. That orange square is where the commit cone should be. That's when you have to be inside the line, single file, to get onto pit road.
Yeah, it's a little confusing because the cone's not there, so they're kind of guessing at where they're supposed to get on it, I guess.
Want to walk out and replace it?
I don't want to.
Me either.
Might lasso it. Get Hammond. We get Hammond to go down there and lasso it.
Now, Scott Speed was last on pit road at lap 85. He's about the only car that has not made a green flag pit stop during this cycle of these stops.
So they're wishing and hoping for a caution flag before he has to stop. Otherwise, with everyone else on fresh tires, his pit stop will put him more than a lap down.
2 cars that would love to see a caution right now. Scott Speed in the 82 and Tony Stewart in that 14 car where he could get caught back up. Now we're seeing Scott Speed on pit road to make his stop.
Laying out there in the middle of the pit road. I'm surprised they hadn't done something about that.
So Scott Speed will give up the lead to Denny Hamlin. And here is how the commitment cone got displaced.
Bobby Labonte, he comes in here, he gets real bad loose, locked up on the brakes, runs right over it, knocks it out in the middle of pit road, and that's where it's been laying all through these green flag pit stops.
Pit stops have set up an interesting battle between Jeff Gordon and Kyle Busch. Now for second place, 3.5 seconds behind race leader Denny Hamlin. 151 complete, 216 laps to go in Darlington, South Carolina, and Denny Hamlin from Virginia out front.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Sprint, proud sponsor of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series.
Back in the day, you came to Darlington with your lumber, your hammer, and your nails. You parked in the infield and you built yourself a viewing stand. Times have changed. Today they fill the grandstands, front stretch and back.
He tried to set a record. See how long he could stay up there without coming down.
Tell you what, we got an awesome crowd here tonight. Beautiful night for racing. Mother's Day weekend. Great crowd.
Let's talk green flag pit stops with Denny Hamlin, your leader, Jeff Gordon and Kyle Busch, 4.5 and 5 seconds back.
Now what this will be the 2 laps under green, including the trip to pit road. And the real winner here was Dave Rogers, Kyle Busch in that 18 car. You can see right there they beat most everyone by a second. And that's the reason after starting 43rd, that 18 car has cracked the top 3 in 3rd position.
They started last. And Kyle Busch has brought that car to 3rd.
You know, one of the things you have to motivate your driver on, I remember when they would say we're going to pit in 2 laps, sometimes you'd sort of almost slow down. You know, you'd back off a little bit and say, well, I'm going to pit in 2 laps. Really and truly, and I think Kyle Busch is a perfect example, you should drive harder those 2 laps than you do any others, trying to make up as much time coming to pit road.
Now there's quite a disparity among lead lap cars, most of which came in from lap 145 to 148. But Tony Stewart has been out there an extra 26 laps on his tires, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. an extra 20 laps.
Well, right now he needs a caution, but for Dale Earnhardt Jr. in that 88 car, having that flat tire, and with this thing staying green, it has worked to his advantage because he got advantage of those fresh tires about 10 laps sooner than everyone else, and he's now sitting in the 10th position, but he needs a caution to get things even back out.
This has not been Dale Jr.'s favorite racetrack. You heard in the pre-race that he thinks that one day at Darlington would be the catalyst that calls for him to hang up his helmet. And you can hear it in his voice as he talked with his spotter about what he does and doesn't want to hear from the roof.
And don't want to hear about a car length behind me that's on the inside looking low. So just tell me when people are there or not. You know, I don't need to know what they're doing. But when the car's not around me, I need silence. 10-4, bud. Settle down. A lot of racing here. I'm hearing you. Told you about this place. Pretty fun, though.
Told you about this place, but it's pretty fun. Okay, if it's pretty fun, then he's moving forward. That's all right.
But, you know, he's one of the few guys I know of. He can talk a whole lap, drive the car, and never miss a beat.
And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is the most thick-skinned human being in the garage area on pit road, Lance McGrew, his crew chief.
Yeah, his hair is already starting to recede quite a bit.
Denny Hamlin is opening it up. 4.7 seconds is now his lead on Jeff Gordon's Chevrolet, with Kyle Busch, Hamlin's teammate, in 3rd, running about the same lap times as Gordon in 2nd. Steve, how about the second place car?
Yeah, Jeff Gordon's a little agitated too, Mike. He just told Steve Letarte, I'm hitting the splitter and the left side feels too low. Remember on the pit stop, he said the right side of the car didn't feel right. Now he said it feels like the left side feels too low on the racetrack.
One thing I noticed on his pit stop on the 24 Jeff Gordon's car, a lot of brake dust. I mean, an excessive amount of brake dust out of the right front. That could have been adding to that right front problem, Larry, building that air pressure from brake heat.
And I'll tell you another reason that he might be hitting the splitter now on low air pressure after a 4-tire stop. The track has more grip. It's cooled down, and you're faster on the get-go on the low air pressure. You're not running the fastest laps you've run, but you're faster when you put the fresh tires on with the low air pressure.
That bright yellowish green appendage underneath the front bumper, that's the splitter. We'll try to keep it as close to the racetrack without dragging the racetrack as possible to keep that front end glued to the ground. Jimmie Johnson, your Sprint Cup champion, is about to go a lap down.
When that splitter hits the racetrack, it basically jacks the front wheels up off the ground. That's how strong it is. So if you're hitting that splitter, it's making your car very difficult to drive.
Next Sunday, Dover, Delaware. Crab Cakes Thursday night, concrete on Sunday. The concrete canyons of the Monster Mile. NASCAR on Fox coverage begins at noon.
My little Jessica graduates from Belmont College next Saturday.
Very nice, very nice.
Jimmie Johnson trying hard not to go a lap down to Denny Hamlin. How long can he stay in front of him? 168 complete in the Showtime Southern 500.
You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
Caution is out in Darlington County. Happened off turn number 2. Watch Sam Hornish come off the corner in front of the leaders.
Yikes.
Now 3 cars behind him, and then race leader Denny Hamlin trying to lap past Jimmie Johnson. And they all stacked up, headed for turn 3.
So really, aside from Jimmie Johnson in the 48 car, who this caution really benefits, Tony Stewart in the 14, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88, because they were going to be coming to pit road not too far from them.
It was about 2 laps after this that NASCAR threw the caution for debris. First car 1 lap down then was Jimmie Johnson. He was and you see Johnson's 48 lined up to get the free pass and go around as the cars on the lead lap head for pit road. Dick Berggren.
Kyle Busch is pitting way off toward turn 4. His crew does not have the luxury of seeing what other people are going to do on this pit stop. So they're planning to do their own strategy. Busch has gone from the back of the pack. Matt.
A lot of change is going to take place on the 2 of Kurt Busch. They're going to back up an adjustment they made in the left rear, going to make an air pressure change in the right front, and also a track bar change. The car just way too loose. Steve.
Matt, Jeff Gordon said that run is ugly. We're all over the place. Denny Hamlin says, I'm too free. I can't be aggressive. And Jamie McMurray in the 1 car saying, I'm too tight. A lot of cars at this end of the pit road taking 2 tires.
Have to push start Ryan Newman to get him going after his pit stop. Jamie Mack back to the front.
Looks like Denny Hamlin, the 11 car, Mike Ford, one of the few up near the front that elected to go with 4 fresh tires.
24, I tell you, he had a great stop. He tore out of the pits.
We're under the 5th caution flag of the night. Jeff Hammond earlier filed this report from our nationwide pit zone.
From on top of the pit box in the nationwide pit zone, we're always looking for speed on the racetrack, but we're also looking for speed on pit road. And you'll be surprised when we found some. We're talking about finding speed anywhere. Well, today we found it here on pit road with a newly designed shoe exclusively from Roush Yates Performance Products, and it's all about the grip from the bottom of the shoe. That's right. The guys are able to get better grip getting around the car because it's a specially designed pit shoe, softer bottom, better grip, quicker pit stops. It's all in the shoe.
Thanks, Jeff. 174 down, 193 to go.
It's always been in the shoe. Is that what they call good drivers, the shoe?
The shoe.
Boy, they're getting serious with repairs on this 48 car of Jimmie Johnson. You can see they almost have like a right front fender skin, and what they're using, it's like a screw gun that they're just fastening that fender on.
Now that's Car Chief Ron Malik in the black helmet. He's had a hammer in hand. He's had a sawzall. Looks like he's had a rivet gun. You name it. He's been a busy man tonight.
And he's worked on about every corner of that race car.
And you know what? They just got the lucky dog. Bet it pays off.
Let's recap stops with our DirecTV pit whip. First, Steve Burns.
And Mike, you heard Denny Hamlin. The report was that he couldn't be as aggressive with the car as he wanted to be. Specifically, he wants to feel that right rear tire in the racetrack. Matt.
Steve, for Kevin Harvick, he overcame a bad qualifying effort, worked his way with track position to the top 10 in the last stop. He now sits 13th. He said the car was loose on entry. He goes, well, really, it's loose pretty much all the way through the corner, Dick.
Martin Truex wants to win this head-to-head thing so he can donate the money to children's charities. He started 33rd, Crash went all the way back to 35th, moved his way all the way to 11th, is now running in 7th position. The toe is out. They're going to leave it alone. The car is pretty good. Krista.
Well, it's going to be very tough for Clint Boyer to pull this one out in the DirecTV head-to-head. 2 busted brake lines have put him all the way back in 38th position. Remember, he started the weekend with a spin and having to go to the backup car. Things not looking good for Boyer, but he's going to fight his way through.
Thanks, Krista. Look up there. Those cars backgrounded in blue on our ticker are the fastest 4 in our DirecTV head-to-head pit whip. To view the updated bracket and see if you're in line for $1 million or a Roush Mustang, go to directv.com/NASCAR. 175 laps complete. Jamie Mack, the leader.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Chevy. Every model is backed by a 5-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. By Aflac. Aflac is insurance for daily living. Get to know Quack at noquack.com. By McDonald's. I'm loving it. And by Cobalt Tools. Cobalt, the next generation of tough tools.
5 caution flags so far, and neither end of the racetrack has been favored for where they have occurred, as you watch from our aerial coverage, brought to you by DirecTV. For the most sports in HD, call 1-800-DirecTV. Jamie McMurray and Jeff Gordon will once again face off from the front row on this restart with 190 laps to go. Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin, teammates in row 2. Brian Vickers and Dale Earnhardt Jr. in row number 3. Almost everybody's out of their seats for this restart, except that young fella. Truex and Burton in row 4. Casey Kane and Kurt Busch in row 5. We have 22 lead lap cars, including the free pass car, Jimmy Johnson, as we get set for the restart.
You know what's amazing about Martin Truex Jr. in that 56 car? He was actually involved in our last caution about 90 laps ago.
You know what's amazing to me is how many times the 1 and the 24 have restarted on the front row.
Kyle Busch fighting on the inside against Jeff Gordon. And Kyle Busch takes second.
Well, Jeff Gordon, Larry, just can't get going on these restarts. They just jump all over him. Several cars get by him.
And it just makes me think that we talked a little bit about it earlier, that they're just starting so far down on air pressure, knowing how much it's going to gain on a long run.
And particularly when you have a driver that's complaining about the right front, and I'm sure a lot of that's buildup.
Tony Stewart and Dale Earnhardt Jr. both stayed on the lead lap. Now all the lead lap cars stopped at lap 173 or so. So everybody's back on the same pit cycle as Hamlin gives the boot to Jeff Gordon on the backstretch.
Running 190 mile an hour in the 3rd turn.
Yellow flag.
Caution's out. Caution's
Spinner
out.
and hard hit in turn 3.
48 car.
And A.J. Allmendinger, Jimmy Johnson, and A.J. hard up into the wall in 3.
Boy, look at that thing.
Now the caution had already come out when that happened, and
look at that
48
thing.
is junk.
I have never seen a 48 car torn up quite like that. She is done. Not a happy camper either.
Darrell, you talked a little bit about it in the pre-race. It has been a rough ride for this 48 team, honestly, whether it's coincidental or not, since we went to this rear spoiler.
That's my observation.
Watch the 48. Things are going to happen up front. There goes the 37, up and around. It's Conway.
He makes slight contact with the outside wall.
But then, that's up in 2. Down in turn 3.
Oh, here comes a...
Jimmy Johnson just nowhere to go. The 43 car of Allmendinger just coming back up the racetrack right in front of him.
That is a huge hit.
So the caution apparently was for Conway into the wall.
Yeah, look at
Not sure why Allmendinger was so far down on the racetrack.
That's brutal right there, man. That is a hard lick.
Jimmy Johnson climbs out.
Boy, Larry, the safety of these cars, the foam in the doors, the driver moved over to the right a little bit, and you can see Jimmy, he's shaking, no question about it. but he's walking away.
More than anything, the safer barriers at every racetrack we go to that they have.
Yeah, it's just the combination of so many things.
Harold, the speed at which Allmendinger came down on the apron and slid up the racetrack. Could that throttle have hung? That car was flying off into the corner.
I don't know how he could have been going that fast, that low on the racetrack. We got to get somebody down there to find out what happened, because that just.
And we're told Allmendinger is out of the car. The safety workers are getting ready to load it up and haul it back to the garage, but that AJ climbed out. A long, hard slide, and Jimmy Johnson was in the wrong place at the wrong time in Darlington.
Time for an A&T race break here. We are live in Darlington nearing the halfway point and under caution, 90 laps in. Jeff Gordon taking the lead, and for Jeff Gordon, it's the 6th consecutive race that he has led in. He's, of course, yet to win this year. Meanwhile, Denny Hamlin working his way in front of Jeff Gordon to lead. Denny Hamlin has led some 29 laps in the race. A caution coming out is Sam Hornish Jr. We've seen people scrape the wall all night. Moments ago, Jimmy Johnson with A.J. Allmendinger going into him, creating a wreck. And for Jimmy Johnson, only one DNF all of last year. He had 2 coming into this race, looking like a 3rd. He stepped away okay. Remember, he won 3 of the first 5 races, but hasn't been the same since. Not only the change with the spoiler, but since he had the spat with teammate Jeff Gordon. The important thing is that Jimmy Johnson is okay. So let's head our AT&T race break down below the Hollywood Hotel. Jeff Hammond with a further look at safety.
Chris, we're down here by the Ford cutaway car. I want to take a quick comment here about, here's the door phone that Darrell and Larry have been talking about that's inside here to help protect these guys when they get hit. Whenever that car, the 43 of A.J. Allmendinger, come up and slammed into the right side, the driver's side of this car, as far as Jimmy Johnson's concerned, that's one of the things that help protect him. It's a steel plate all down the roll cage that helps to cover and keep anything from penetrating into the driver's compartment, along with the seat construction. Again, Jimmy Johnson got out, maybe a little bit rattled, but he's able to walk away from a pretty horrific crash at probably almost 170 miles an hour because of NASCAR safety. Chris?
Thanks, Jeff. Our leader, though, Jamie McMurray, who led just 39 laps over the first 10 races, has already led 47 tonight, and again pushing past the halfway point. You can text your opinion on who you think should win the AT&T Fastest Pit Crew of the Year award, and Jeff will give his selection, and most importantly your vote. The AT&T Fastest Pit Crew, delivered by AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. On Saturday next week, Major League Baseball, and then on Sunday it'll be racing from Dover. We hope you're with us Saturday for MLB on Fox. Rays, Astros, Giants. They had a rain delay in that Yankee Red Sox game before finally that game was concluded. New York over Boston. Good to be racing with you Saturday night. NASCAR on Fox from Darlington. Again, McMurray leading Kyle Busch, who started way at the back of the pack after winning last week, working his way back up to second currently, and Jeff Gordon running third.
Yeah, they've had a lot of trouble this weekend. Right now, they've really done a great job as far as making the right kind of calls and getting him up in that track position we talked about early on in our pre-race. That's what these guys have been working to do all night long.
All right, let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
Thanks, Chris. You saw Jimmy Johnson out of his car and okay. Let's reiterate, A.J. Allmendinger also climbed from his car. His car has been dragged to the garage. He's okay. Dick Berggren's with him.
A.J., what happened?
We were having brake trouble like the last 60 laps, and we came in that yellow and took all the brake cooling off. We're not really sure what was happening. We've had brake trouble the last few weeks, and that yellow came out, raised the yellow came out, went to hit the brakes, and I heard the brake rotor. I don't know which one, but brake rotor exploded, and I just tried to aim to the bottom to try to miss everybody. I'm sorry to Jimmy and everybody at Hendrick for tearing up their stuff, but I was out of brakes and just trying to miss everybody and was backwards, and that's all we can do.
You're okay?
I'm all right. Just proud of everybody in the Insignia Best Buy Ford team. Car wasn't very good. We kept fighting. I felt like
without the brake trouble, we could have kept fighting and getting the car better, but I knew we were in trouble the last about 50 laps, just trying to struggle with no brakes, and that was it.
Mike. A.J. Allmendinger, a rising star at Richard Petty Motorsports, out of the race tonight. Jamie McMurray leads from Kyle Busch and Jeff Gordon in third spot. Let's get down to Gordon's pit and Steve Burns.
Mike, with Steve Letarte, the crew chief, and I heard Jeff say this car was ugly on that last run, but you said the good news is we're just halfway.
Yeah, you know, the DuPont National Guard Chevrolets were real good all weekend long. We started the race, we were real good, but, you know, as you can see, man, it's really cooling down, and I think the track's okay. Just green flag pit stop. I think we had our air pressures. They're just not great for green flag pit stops, but that's okay. I think we have an okay car. Still a long way to go.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks.
Mike.
Prior to tonight, Jimmy Johnson had completed all but 2 laps in his Darlington races here. He's now out of the race. Dick Berggren's with him.
That was one hard hit. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I still have to see where it even came from. All I know is last minute I saw a green bumper and it was a hard hit. So unfortunate. I mean, we had all kinds of issues tonight. Got caught up in a lot of little small things, but still had a very fast race car, and I think we could have salvaged a top 10, top 5 today. But it's too bad. I've got to go back and watch the video because I have no clue. And I guess it was AJ because he came and apologized to me and said his brakes failed or something. But I don't know if he was behind me or where he was, but he came in there hot and hit me hard.
It's Darlington. Wild stuff happens here. We're glad you're okay.
I was just surprised when he said he had brake trouble. I guess he had some brakes, but not enough to slow him down, because saw the tires sliding. It appeared to me that maybe some of the tires were locked up, but maybe had a brake problem, a lot like Clint Boyer did.
A few pit stops under this, the 6th caution flag of the night. Matt Kenseth is in. Ryan Newman, David Rudiman, and Paul Menard are those who choose to pit at lap 187. We're just a little past halfway at the track that has proven tonight for some drivers to be way too tough to tame. Darlington, South Carolina.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Verizon Wireless. Big racing fan? Get Verizon Championship Racing for race highlights, behind the scenes, and exclusive interviews right on your VCast phone. From the network with the most 3G coverage, Verizon.
The Southern 500 has always been one of the greatest races for any NASCAR driver to win. In the spring and fall races combined, David Pearson captured 10 checkered flags here at Darlington. Dale Earnhardt 9, and Jeff Gordon leads all active drivers with 7. Darrell, you won the Southern 500 in 1992. It happened to be the last one of your 84 Sprint Cup victories.
It was quite a thrill. I was just so afraid I was going to go through my whole career and not win the Southern 500. And every driver will tell you, it's like the Daytona 500 or the Coke 600. You got to have a Southern 500 trophy to go with all those others.
Greg Biffle is the free pass car on this caution flag, the 6th of the night. So we will restart with 22 cars on the lead lap. Jamie McMurray, Kyle Busch at the front. Kyle started 43rd. He has not yet led tonight. I think that may be about to change.
Well, we'll see if he's got that restart magic like he had last week.
Green flag, and McMurray comes out firing on all cylinders.
I tell you, that McMurray has been on it. He's been like a jackrabbit taking off tonight. You see Kyle Busch fights that outside around Jeff Gordon there.
Kyle for 2nd. Gordon holds 3rd. Brian Vickers back in the game in 4th. Denny Hamlin 5th. Kurt Busch in 6th. Then Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Burton, Kevin Harvick, and Martin Truex the top 10.
I think that 18 car is sniffing that lead, Larry. He's wanting it.
Whoa, Busch got in the back of the 11 Hamlin.
Got him loose. I know that.
Kurt Busch, that is, in the 2.
I think what happened, Denny Hamlin in 11 had to backpedal getting off the corner. We've seen that happen so many times tonight.
Yeah, on new tires. When you put new tires on these cars, this tire doesn't seem to hook up real well when it's brand new.
Here's another look at it.
I'm not even sure if there was contact. I believe that 11 was just a little snappy loose off that corner.
Montoya all down to the apron after making contact with the 56 of Truex. That could have been big.
There's not any weather in the area, is there? These guys are racing like the race is going to end here any time.
These guys were battling for 10th right now.
They say it's cooled down outside, but it's picking up out there on the racetrack.
Well, and you know what? I can tell it's cooled down because Kyle Busch in that 18 car, he just ran his fastest lap of the race. In fact, McMurray just ran his fastest lap of the race in that one car.
So did Kurt Busch, Jeff Burton, Martin Truex, Harvick, and Earnhardt.
Business
so
picking up.
That's 8 of the top 10, or 7 of the top 10.
And that's just grip. That's just more grip.
Krista.
In the box with Lance McGrew. Lansdale Jr.'s been having a lot of fun on the radio. Fun in Darlington don't usually go hand in hand for him. How has the track been changing?
I have absolutely no idea what you just said. Dale's doing a great job. We got behind a little bit earlier. We had a cut right rear tire to get off sequence. Lucky for us, but after we pitted, everybody cycled through and we got back on the lead lap. Car's been real good. This is the first time we put on 2 tires. It's been a little tight, but Dale's doing a great job, and all the guys at pit road are doing a great job for AMP and National Guard.
Thanks, Lance.
Earnhardt in 9th place. How much fun is he having? We listened in.
Well, I wish we'd have got 4 tires. God dang it.
I'd rather figure it out now than later, bud. Got to figure out what it'll do, because 2 tires is going to win it. 4 tires is not.
No tires. How about that, Nunn? Will Nunn win it?
It did last year.
Interesting conversation of strategy as Tony Stewart is off pace.
He just hit the wall off turn 2, Mike, big time. Almost spun the thing out. It come around the back, slammed into the wall.
So the trials and tribulations of this 14 car of Stewart continues here in 2010.
So Darrell, what is he taking a lap to see if he can still drive it?
Well, he probably doesn't know how badly it's torn up. And so right now he's trying to feel it out, but it's torn up pretty bad. I think he's going to have to come to pit road.
Stewart stays out.
You'll see him back here, Mike. The thing just gets right there out from under him and gets the back end into the wall pretty hard.
There, it looks like that shoved that spoiler way over to the left out in the wind.
Yeah, I think that's what he's going to have to come in and work on. He's not going to be able to drive it very fast like it is.
And that's what I've been watching, because that's what we saw with all those cars that hit the wall in practice yesterday, is it was knocking that spoiler over to the left.
It's kind of ironic to me how it goes, though. And if, guys, I mean, all the trouble we had here through the weekend on yesterday was off turn 4. Tonight it seems like turn 2 is giving everybody a lot more trouble.
Not only is it knocked over, you can see the right front corner is turned in. It's going to be a handful to try to drive this way. Their hopes we get a caution and they can stay on the lead lap and get to pit road.
Well, that's what he's going to do. He's going to ride there until he gets lapped, and then he'll come to pit road, which I think he needs to come on now, though, with the damage he has.
Stewart has fallen to be the last car on the lead lap, 22nd position. Matt?
Mike Stewart has said absolutely nothing on the radio. Spotter Bob Jeffrey gave him a couple different updates to let him know.
Oh, around he goes. Stewart trying to ride it out, spins it in the front straightaway, and he gets the caution he hoped for. Sam Hornish around on the front stretch.
There's something has come over this racetrack. All of a sudden, cars are hitting the wall, cars are spinning out. It's like some big change.
It's like the lady in black has stepped on her hem.
I think she woke up.
Now
we got 2 of them.
This was the beginning of the caution right here. Tony Stewart, you can see the car go up the hill, gets loose. He's going to spin down onto the apron, and this brings the caution out right here. But at the same time, almost simultaneously, the 77 car of Sam Hornish Jr. coming off of turn 4 gets loose. You can see totally by himself, and he's going to spin out. And that definitely is going to bring the caution. But the good news is Tony Stewart in the 14 stays on the lead lap right now.
I don't know how Sam's driving that 77 car. Remember how badly it was torn up a few laps ago, wrecked off turn 2?
Carl Edwards will be the free pass car, and Tony's been in free fall. He has lost 10 positions in the Sprint Cup standings in the last 4 races. Quite a few takers on pit road. Jeff Gordon led them in, along with Denny Hamlin, Brian Vickers, Jeff Burton, Kevin Harvick, Dale Jr., Casey Kane, and lots more. Matt?
And Brian Vickers, they're going to go right side tires only. Also look for a chassis adjustment. The car's still tight on this run, Steve.
And we expect Jeff Gordon to take just 2 tires this time. The 24 looking for left sides only. Denny Hamlin also on pit road. Jamie McMurray electing to stay out.
Right sides for Hamlin, and he wins the race off pit road.
Looks like pretty much everyone that came to pit road took the 2 tires, but we actually had a lot of our guys up near the front stay out.
88 took 4.
So 13 lead lap cars came in. The first 9 stayed out. Well, caution 6 for Sam Hornish happened here. 6A for Allmendinger down there, and caution 7 right behind the blimp for Sam Hornish and Tony Stewart. From our aerial coverage from DirecTV, for the most sports on HD, call 1-800-DIRECTV. Sprint brings you an inside look at what's happening now inside the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. All those eyeballs glued to Fox and the NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile, where you'll find in-car audio and live race radio. NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile at sprint.com/speed. Kevin Harvick at the moment would be 59 points ahead of Kurt Busch, with Jimmy Johnson falling to 3rd. Johnson is out of the race after crashing with Allmendinger to bring out caution 6. We've just completed caution number 7. The pace car about to dive onto pit road. It will be Jamie McMurray and Kyle Busch on the front row. The top 9 cars did not pit under this caution, including Kurt Busch, Truex, Rudiman, Regan Smith, Newman, Elliott Sadler, and Paul Menard. Back under green, and again McMurray has been the restart king tonight in Darlington.
And I really do not think that was a bad move, those cars staying out, as Kyle Busch in the 18 car, he wants the lead of this race bad for McMurray in the 1.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it is either there, because last night the 2 Gibbs cars that were in 1st and 2nd in the nationwide race, they stayed out on tires that had several laps on them and didn't hurt them a bit.
Once again, back straightaway. Busch to the inside. Now he gets a fender alongside McMurray, who lets him go.
Yeah, you got to let him go right there. You can't take a chance of getting a slide job that doesn't work too good.
And while those guys were going at it, that 2 car of Kurt Busch, he wants in the mix.
5 points, good job.
Contact between Casey Kane in the 9 and Juan Montoya in the 42.
Boy, Juan is just having an adventure here lately. See what happens here. Ooh, he gets loose up off the corner. Good thing the 9 was there. I think it saved him.
And from Casey Kane, here's how it looked.
Still clear behind him. Still clear behind him if you need it.
It's almost like
outside,
Casey Kane
right rear, still there.
anticipated that happening.
Outside. Still there, clear on the 42.
I've got to think that Juan Montoya in the 42 may have thought that Kane pushed him around, but I think it was just all arrow.
Montoya underneath Kane again. That's Paul Menard just ahead of the 98. This is for 14th place. Montoya with the spot. Kyle Busch out front for the first time tonight. Dick Berggren in his pit.
Well, we talked about how Kyle Busch started dead last, but everybody else that he has raced with up in the front of this field had the advantage of 3 full hours of practice. Busch's crash yesterday happened in qualifying, so this is a backup car with absolutely 0 laps on this speedway. This may not have happened in days of old when everybody built a unique car, but with NASCAR mandating that the cars are going to be so similar, and Dave Rogers and his crew ensuring that their cars are even more similar than NASCAR requires, all they had to do was pull the backup out, set it up the way that the regular race car was set up, and they are now leading the race from dead last.
Last year, 2 drivers went to victory lane in backup cars. Matt Kenseth in the Daytona 500 And Tony Stewart won the June race at Pocono in a backup.
And you know, back in the day, Daryl, Jeff, and I, our backup car at any racetrack would be just something that was sitting in the shop just to haul to the racetrack. These guys now, their backup cars are just as good as what they unload.
Heck, Larry, we used to go down to the shopping center and pick up a show car and use it as a backup car.
Nice job by Syracuse, New York's Regan Smith in the 78. Now that's a brand new car they got from Richard Childress Racing. First time with it at the racetrack. He's in 11th place after starting 32nd. Good job.
And that's one of those 9 cars that elected to stay out, but they had cracked the top 15. But I'm interested to watch this 24 car because Steve Burns was telling me during the break what Steve Letarte decided to do with that car is make a big swing at a chassis adjustment. They changed just left side tires because they wanted to pull a rubber out of the left rear spring to soften that left rear spring because the track is getting tighter and tighter right now as it cools down.
You know, we used to do that occasionally to be sure we got it full of fuel. As much fuel in it as we could get in it. Get that left side jacked up, get a little extra fuel in it.
So Gordon soldiers along in 12th behind Regan Smith. See Newman just ahead in 10th. And there are 23 cars on the lead lap, including Tony Stewart. For all Stewart's troubles tonight, he's been able to hang on the lead lap. He's 13 seconds off the lead. He's still there, and here's his teammate Ryan Newman in 10th place.
One thing that has become perfectly clear, you get out front, you drive off and leave everybody else. The 18 car, the 24 car, the 1. Seem like these guys, once they get the lead, they can really extend it.
Tony's lap times are about 6 or 7 tenths off of what the leader is running, but just to keep that car on the lead lap with everything that's happened to him has been quite a race for he and crew chief Darian Grubb.
You have to endure here. I mean, you're going to have a rough night. You're going to hit the wall. You're going to get the car torn up. You got to keep pushing, keep pressing, keep fighting. Can't give up.
Tell you what, I've been watching these 2 cars right here. Michael Waltrip Racing, David Ruderman in the 00, Martin Truex Jr. in the 56, battling inside the top 5. Just think about the night that Michael Waltrip Racing had last week at Richmond, and here they've got 2 cars in the top 5 right in here with about 150 laps to go.
Yeah, Michael and I talk about this all the time. These guys right here are going to win a race, and when we get to a road course, their teammates going to have a real good shot at winning a race. They're on a winning formula right now.
See that wave for Martin Truex? It was a thank you to David Ruderman for giving him the corner and letting him by. And Darrell, that's a lot like road racing. Pass them where you don't slow either one of you down.
Drive away, bud. Get that good rhythm. Drive away.
See, that's how you race it. That's how you race Darlington. You have got to be willing to give. You got to be able to slow down and let the guy go. You got to give him the line. If you race people, you'll wreck. If you race them in the wrong place. There's a right place to race here, a wrong place. But that also, Mike, that's part of figuring this joint out. That's why it takes a kind of years to get it done.
Jeff Burton and Denny Hamlin 6th and 7th. And again running a little bit off the pace set by Kyle Busch and Jamie McMurray, but they have been in contention all night long.
And you know, we saw in our telemetry cars hitting 190 miles an hour into turn 3 in qualifying. I just noticed a few of these cars are showing glowing red brake rotors. And we've heard a number of guys say that they're having some brake issues. I think these guys are using more brake than they anticipated.
Well, we know Allmendinger had a brake problem. We also were getting a report that Casey Kane in the 9 and Matt Kenseth in the 17 was complaining about brake issues.
When you're going that fast down the straightaway into that turn, you got to roll it up or you'll do like Robbie Gordon did. You'll be in the fence.
Next Sunday, Dover, Delaware, and that's another momentum track around the concrete of the Monster Mile. Dennis McGlynn, all the folks up there always very hospitable, put on a great show. We'll all be worn out from the Autism Golf Tournament on Thursday and the Dover Tournament as well. But we expect a good show at Dover and hope you can join us next Sunday afternoon on Fox.
Now, Mike and Darrell, those 9 cars that stayed out on that last caution, like our leader Kyle Busch in the 18 car, McMurray in the 1, probably in about 10 to 15 laps, they're going to be forced to make green flag pit stops.
All 9 of those cars are still on the lead lap, although not still in the first 9 positions. The first 4 cars are among those Larry's talking about. Kyle Busch, Jamie McMurray, Kurt Busch, and Martin Truex.
One thing I've noticed on the one car, McMurray, as he comes into the first turn here, is he seems to fall back a skosh on a restart. But once they get going, he really gets to, his lap times right now are a little quicker than Kyle Busch's is. Looks like he's got a good car over the long haul.
Now, Kurt Busch has not led this race, but he has his Penske Dodge up in a position to have a chance to do that. Same for Martin Truex, who's running the 4th position, and he's had a couple of skirmishes tonight. His teammate David Rudiman sits in 5th, and Jeff Burton has been around the top half dozen all evening. He's gained 6 spots in the last 9 laps. Denny Hamlin in 7th. He has led this race for 29 laps. And Brian Vickers has spent 9 laps out front.
Now the next car, Elliott Sadler in the 19 car, running in the 9th position. That's one of those cars that has not pitted since that 173, but a good run for Elliott Sadler. That group needs a run like this.
And Mike, as we watch these cars go around the racetrack, you can see, folks, there is no margin for error. This is a track where you've got to hit your marks every lap or you'll hit the wall.
Jeff Gordon has now gained, after he passes Sadler, 3 positions since they talked about that project of left side tires and seeing how it would work out. And here's Ryan Newman in 11th place, Regan Smith in 12th, and Paul Menard, who's had an adventuresome night, is involved in the 3rd caution of the night in the back straightaway. He's in 13th.
Speaking of adventures, how about Juan Pablo Montoya?
Oh,
the only way you can tell it's the 42 car is look at the left side. He's still in the top 15.
He got past Casey Kane. Kane in the 15th position. These cars are 12 seconds back of the leader. And Kevin Harvick, who lost 3 positions on pit road due to a dropped lug nut, and that led to some heated words between Harvick and crew chief Gil Martin, because, Darrell, it's so hard to pass on the racetrack. You need to try to get those spots on pit road if you can.
Frustrating, very frustrating for the driver.
Dale Jr. 17th, Brad Keselowski 18th, Keselowski 13 seconds off the lead. The 5 of Mark Martin in 19th position. And Matt Kenseth has had one of those kind of coming and going evenings. He is 20th.
Well, he's one of the cars we talked about maybe fighting brake issues, but a lot of the Roush Fenway cars are running right there together. You've got Kenseth running in the 20th position in the 17 car. Just behind him is teammate Greg Biffle in the 16. Remember, Christopher pointed out earlier that they've got a little bit of an electrical problem going on with this 16 car.
The other 2 cars on the lead lap are Carl Edwards and Tony Stewart. You look at the right side of Kyle Busch's car, and it's starting to look like that primary car that he wrecked on his qualifying lap. There's why. A little scrape to the wall.
He's getting it right now. Remember the race he won here about a year ago?
Caution, Darrell. Bobby Labonte's had a problem in the back straightaway, and the caution is out for the 8th time tonight for debris from Labonte's Chevrolet.
Honestly, that's a huge break for Kyle Busch and those 9 guys that stayed out. Not too far from what would have to be green flag stops for those boys.
All of the front 4 had not been on pit road since lap 173. And there you see debris coming from Labonte's car. Lots of it.
That's all the inner panels. Yeah, the left rear tire blew out. He's tearing all the inner panels out from inside the wheel wells there. Those tires just do a tremendous amount of damage when they blow out.
David Reagan gets the free pass. That'll put the UPS Ford back on the lead lap. As the Darlington track crew gets to pick up the pieces. What do you do here, Larry? We're kind of getting deep in the race to be gamblers. What do you think?
Well, I think those guys that's not pitted in quite a while, I think you'll probably see those go with 4 tires, but I would not be surprised. A lot of that group that were on pit road about 20-something laps ago, I think just like we talked at the top of the show, it's going to be all over the place. 2 tires, 4 tires. If you change 2, it'll probably be rights.
Jeff Hammond, what do you want to do on this stop?
I want to get 4 right now. I want to get myself in a position so if I decide to go with 2, I'm in a lot better shape. So I think now's the time to go with 4, Mike.
Pit road's open. Let's find out. Kyle Busch leads the lead lap cars onto pit road. Dick?
And Kyle Busch told the crew he's angry with himself. He had just talked to himself about being sure that he stayed out of the wall, and then boom, he was into the wall. Said the car was a little bit freer when they almost lost a tire, but they just caught it. Krista.
Jeff Burton's car had gotten a little bit tight. They've taken 2 tires on the last 2 stops, and that's what they'll do again. Matt.
And Kurt Busch complaining the car loose, especially on entry into turn 3. Going to make an air pressure change on the left side tires to help with side bite, Steve.
4 tires for Jamie McMurray, Matt, and a tear-off. Visibility tough right now for a lot of these drivers. Jamie McMurray saying this is the best his car has been all night.
Well, there are the gamblers with 2 tires, and they're going to fill the first 7 and almost all the top 10 positions.
There you see McMurray in the 1 car. Steve Burns talked about it. 4 tires for him of our top 10. He's the only one.
I think this is things they learned from last night, Larry. 2 tires worked mighty well. Whoa,
track is brightly lit, but how about those LEDs?
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is delivered by UPS. Log on to ups.com/racing to enter the UPS $100,000 Trackside Challenge.
Getting ready to restart. Kyle Busch had come in for 2 tires. He went back out on the racetrack, and guess what? The left rear went flat. He had to come back in. They put 4 tires on and handed Kyle a bottle of water.
Yeah, when he came to pit road just a little bit ago, all they changed was right sides, and of course it's the left rear that you see is pretty flat.
That's kind of a gamble, Larry, if you take 2 tires, that you didn't run over something with all that debris out there.
But what a break they called it.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
They didn't. Juan Montoya was right behind Busch. He spotted it, told his spotter, who ran over to Busch's spotter, who brought the 18 in. Coming to green.
Let's get
Kyle
going here.
Will be the last car on the lead lap. He'll be 24th. David Rudiman, Jeff Burton on the front row. Montoya with Jeff Gordon, Harvick and Newman, McMurray, Keselowski, Earnhardt and Hamlin the top 10. Green flag with 24 cars on the lead lap and 1:36 to go.
This is big. This is going to get big, guys.
Oh, Truex did not go, and they stacked up.
Somebody ran. There was people running over each other all back in there. You see the 6 cars smoking. Something's wrong with the 56.
We stay green.
But yeah, that's what started it all. Was the 56 had an issue.
He couldn't go, and man, they backed everything up.
And now debris in the first turn. The caution will wave over Jeff Burton, who was the race leader and took off. Let's show you the restart and the scatter effect from the DirecTV blimp. Now Truex restarted in row 6, so he would be in 12th place on this restart.
You see right over here, I mean, he just didn't go. And everybody's running into, you know, the back end of each other. You see these 3 guys here all bam into each other. That's the 6. A couple other cars.
And Reagan hit the wall pretty hard.
And you can see that Truex there in the 56, he's down there on the bottom. He can't go anywhere.
Watch on the outside row, 6 rows back, the Napa car stacks him up.
He missed, I believe he missed a shift. I saw fire fly out the tailpipes like he may have missed his shift.
Let's ride along, Darrell, and hear what it sounds like.
Everybody's rolling. Side inside. Side inside, outside, inside and out, inside and out, inside and out.
Something weird going on there. Almost
inside and out.
Almost like he went, like he didn't miss his shift. He went to the wrong gear.
Yeah.
The engine.
Motor or transmission. Check up. Still crashing. Get around these guys. Come on, come on. You're all good. Still green. Still green. Got one inside. 2 wide. Door. Left rear. Clear.
There will be pit stops. Tony Stewart, David Reagan, Sam Hornish, and Kyle Busch. Dick?
Well, the number 56, Martin Truex, is on pit road. Mechanics are underneath it, working in the transmission area. Kyle Busch is right in front of him, and they're trying to fix sheet metal on his car.
He must have gotten into somebody in that dust up from Truex on back.
Yeah, there were so many cars that were running into each other. I'm sure he was one of them. poke the hole in the nose.
And why is it so important to fix that?
Well, the speed you're running here, the nose of that car is so important for front downforce, which is the grip of the front tires, plus as far as aerodynamic drag, the speed you're running here on the straightaway.
I mean, like we said a little bit ago, you're running almost 190 miles an hour down that back straightaway. You got to plant that nose or you're going to be in trouble.
And Larry, take a quick look. They're using a propane torch to try to mold that bare bond to the nose and make it more efficient.
Well, they heat it up a little bit. It's going to grip the nose quicker. That's the whole goal.
Exactly right, to make it hit the shape better so it doesn't come loose and yet helps the aerodynamics rather than take away from it.
Cornish and Reagan still on pit road, and here's the torch going across. The torch is passed.
Yeah, this type of adhesive, when you put it in place, it's there. You're not going to move it, and then you heat it up a little bit, it just makes it adhere even better.
Back in the old days, it was barely bond. Now it's bare bond.
A long ways to go. We'll get our lap back here and go get them. Get it unstuck, guys.
Next Sunday, our coverage of Sprint Cup Series racing continues from Dover, beginning at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And then on Sunday, May 30th, NASCAR on Fox will be in Charlotte for the Coca-Cola 600. Coverage begins 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific in high definition right here on Fox.
It's not an extra 100 miles of racing in Charlotte. It's an extra 100 miles of excitement, because that's a great race.
Now, we don't get a weekend off there because remember the all-star racing. It will be on speed the weekend between Dover in the Coca-Cola 600.
It's a big month for the city of Charlotte and the sport of NASCAR. NASCAR's Hall of Fame opens Tuesday, and that's been a long anticipated event, one we're very much looking forward to. And then on May 23rd, we'll induct the inaugural class into the Hall of Fame.
The month of May is a racer's delight. If you're a race fan or a racer, you know, the Indy 500, the Coke 600, Monaco, we've had the Kentucky Derby. The month of May is a great racing month.
You know, Darrell, we've got 132 laps to go, and a lot can happen at Darlington in 132 laps. And of course, every Friday, you and Jeff and I, we do our lunch with benefits, 3-wide coverage. And I stated this week, I felt like we would have a winner tonight that has not won a race in 2010, and I think we've got 2 or 3 pretty good ones that fits that category up at the top of the charts right now.
Yes, sir. There's some hungry hounds out there, buddy.
The first 4 drivers on this restart have not won this year.
The 2 Jeffs that I was talking about in the pre-race show,
right,
are the Jeffs.
Play the Code Spotter sweepstakes for a chance to win a custom Roush Mustang at codespotter.com. 131 laps to go, at least one more pit stop. I'd say if we stay caution free, and I know it's not like I'm kidding,
yeah,
but that's wishful thinking.
Well, with the strategy we're seeing, I think we're definitely looking at maybe a 2-stop race to get to the end of this thing, because it just looks like that track position. And it's not because of aero push or any of those things. This place is hard to pass. It's narrow.
Right now is your best opportunity to pass somebody, if you can just get by them without running over them.
So everyone has at least 2 fresh tires as the Camaro pace car goes to pit road. Jeff Burton and Jeff Gordon bring them down for the restart. It'll be 130 laps to go as we go back under the green flag.
That was a pretty good restart by Jeff Gordon that time.
He drops in second behind Burton.
Nice job. Drive away from him.
Rudeman third, Montoya fourth, and then it jams up a little bit back where Kevin Harvick is, side by side with Jamie Mack behind Ryan Newman and just out of the top 5.
We got a new player in the top 10. You see that 12 car, Brad Keselowski, sitting up there in the 8th spot right now.
And you know what I like about him, Larry? I don't think we've mentioned him much tonight at all, and that means he's kept his nose very clean.
Truex tried the inside on Joey Logano, trying to grab spots anywhere you can.
And what Martin Truex Jr. in that 56 car is trying to do is pass Joey Logano to be the first car lap down. Should we get the caution, gets the free pass.
Hello.
Elliott Sadler, the 19, trying to get out of harm's way. Harm being the 9, the 8 of Casey Kane, the 18 of Kyle Busch, and the 83 of Brian Vickers.
That was interesting because it looks like that 18 car. It didn't look like he was carrying much speed, but he got out of that hole pretty good, and he's all right now.
That's a heck of a fight for 16th place.
It really is.
The front 4 cars have not been to victory lane since. For Jeff Burton, it's been 51 races. 39 races for Jeff Gordon in second. 34 races. That's last year's Coke 600 for David Rudiman. And 102 races for Juan Montoya. Hungry? You bet.
And when I think about 2 of those 4 cars, actually 3 of them in particular, but Gordon and Montoya, they have fast race cars every single week. They just have not went to victory lane this year.
And here's what I'm watching. I'm watching the front of the field, the top 10. I'm watching it slowly pay off for the veteran drivers. You got Burton and Gordon up there, and then you got Harvick, who's pretty good here, as we well know. But you slip on down here to Kurt Busch in 10th, and Mark Martin has slipped up to 11th place here, quietly doing it.
There's how long it's been since the last visit to victory lane for our front 4. Krista?
Well, I mentioned that the last 3 stops, Jeff Burton and crew chief Todd Berrier have elected to take 2 tires. Speaking to Todd Berrier today, he said 4 tires, I just don't think it's going to work. It doesn't make any sense for Darlington, but nothing this weekend makes any sense.
Well, I think a lot of them paid close attention to that Nationwide Series race last night. Like Darrell pointed out, they run the same tire, and I think they learned a lot from what they saw there.
This is a heck of a tire. It just doesn't have to give up, and you don't need 4 of them to be good.
Richard Childress Racing with 2 cars in the top half dozen. Kevin Harvick just made a run on Ryan Newman for 5th and then dropped back in line in front of Hamlin. Their other teammate Clint Boyer's been in and out of the garage all night and is 36 laps down. Brake problems.
Let me correct myself. You need 4 tires.
Yes.
You just don't need 4 new tires.
Hamlin makes the pass. He comes up to 6th. He's on his way back to the front.
Yes, he is. But just talking about how much grip this racetrack is getting, Jeff Burton, the 31 car, our leader, just a couple of laps ago, not only cut the fastest lap of the race that he's run, but the fastest lap of the race, period.
16th place. Quite a battle. Greg Biffle in the 16. Brian Vickers 83. And their lap times are well off the lead pace because they've been fighting each other for position.
Oh yeah, they're just
and here comes Martin.
They're slowing each other down is all they're doing. Somebody needs to yield here.
Well, you can really hear him having to pedal that throttle on the exit of the corner. And you see that little orange dot way up in front of him right now. That's Joey Logano in the 20 car. He's the first car 1 lap down.
Quick update on cars out of the race. Jimmy Johnson crashed with A.J. Allmendinger. Johnson's out. Allmendinger in the garage under repair. Also out as you watch Martin Truex and Casey Kane go at it. Robbie Gordon in the garage. And out of the race, Todd Bodine, Michael McDowell, J.J. Yaley, Dave Blaney, and Reed Sorensen.
These guys were going at it pretty hard there down the straightaway.
You know, last week Casey Kane was having an issue with Joey Logano. They had a battle for several laps. Now it looks like he's going to have a kind of pretty good battle going there with Martin Truex tonight.
Now Kane's a lead lap car. He's in 19th. Truex is 1 lap down in 25th, so they weren't racing for position as Logano and Kane were last week to try to be the first car for the free pass. Here comes Hamlin.
Larry, and I think we mentioned in the opening of the race here that the 2 cars that people said really look good and keep your eyes on are these 2 cars we're watching right now. That 11 FedEx car with Denny Hamlin and the 39 car of Ryan Newman. People were saying those were the 2 best cars out there, they thought.
Newman trying to hold off Kevin Harvick now for 6th.
Kevin started back in the 35th position, worked his way up to the top 15, and now he's been inside the top 10 for a number of laps.
Yeah, he lost a good bit of time, as we said, on that 1 pit stop there. But here he is. He's fought his way right back up into the thick of things.
Dale Jr., Brian Vickers, 15th place. And Junior lets Vickers go.
Yeah, and that's just, it's a classic move right there. Take it low into turn 3. Hopefully the guy will give you enough room to slide up.
Harvick keeps nibbling away at Ryan Newman's position. Can't make the pass for 6th, though. Harvick settled in here in 7th for a while.
But one thing I noticed about these cars, ever since they went to the rear spoiler, these cars have a lot more rear downforce. And they just seem like they get into the corner a lot faster than they did with the wing. Cars are a little easier to get into the corner with a little more speed.
And there you saw Ryan Newman back out of it early, allow Harvick the entrance into the corner, so neither one of them is slowed down by the pass.
Smart racing at Darlington.
117 laps to go in the Showtime Southern 500. Jeff Burton leading Jeff Gordon by 0.8 of a second.
You're watching NASCAR on Fox.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by AT&T. Rethink Possible. By John Deere. By DirecTV. No one offers as much DVR storage as DirecTV. And by GoDaddy.com, domains, websites, and everything in between.
Jeff Burton still leading Jeff Gordon by 2 car lengths at Darlington Raceway with 110 laps to go. This week, head into the garage for NASCAR Race Hub. Talk with drivers, owners, and crew chiefs about the past, present, and future of racing. NASCAR Race Hub this week only on Speed. Check your local listings for day and time in your area. There is the lead. And looks for now as if Jeff Gordon is content to just stalk Jeff Burton and let some of these laps wind down.
And we're about halfway through this fuel run. When I look at our top 4 of Burton, Gordon, Rudeman, Montoya, they changed 2 tires. The top running car that changed 4 tires that last caution is Denny Hamlin in 11. Right now, he's 5th.
Burton and Gordon. Steve Burns.
And Mike, Jeff Gordon just had an interesting comment to Steve Letarte. He said, I'm actually kind of surprised, but I've gotten a little free through 3 and 4.
Oh, and that was what Letarte said. That was his bread and butter corner, 3 and 4. They knew he'd be a little off. And look at Burton. Burton says, you go ahead.
Okay.
He saw that 24 car getting bigger and bigger in that rearview mirror. Nobody understands that better than Jeff Burton.
Exactly, and that is such a veteran move at this racetrack. That's how you finish races here. That's how you win races here too. You got to finish first.
Now they have about 2 seconds back to David Rudeman and 4.5 seconds back to Montoya, Hamlin, and Harvick.
You know, we heard Burton say last week, you know, he was up there in the front at the restart last restart at Richmond last week. He settled for a 4th place finish. He said, I need finishes right now. I need to build some points. That was points racing there just then.
Big picture racing for Jeff Burton, who at the moment would leave here in 8th place, 200 points out of the lead, given the positions as they run right now. Kyle Busch is coming. He's in 11th place. He restarted 20th at lap 238. And he's about to try Mark Martin for 10th.
Well, he has 4 tires, we know at that, and the damage he had to his car was very minor, and they got that fixed, so he's in pretty good shape.
And still plenty of time, a little over 100 laps to go.
Not happy at all last night the way his car performed. Couldn't really get a hold of the racetrack. And yet Joe Gibbs Racing came home with a big finish in Denny Hamlin in victory lane.
Yeah, he was frustrated last night because Denny had a better car than he did, and Kyle couldn't get to him to pass him. And Kyle he's the fast and the furious. When he's fast, he's happy, and when he's not, he's furious.
A lot of folks would have been happy with that 2nd place finish. Not Kyle.
But I look right behind Kyle Busch in that 18 car, and we talked about him earlier. Regan Smith in the 78, sitting back there in 12th spot, still well up in the top 15.
David Stremme trying to stay on the tail end of the lead lap. And Jeff Gordon will put him 1 lap down for the 2nd time tonight.
Well, Larry, it's the same song and about the 5th verse. Jeff Gordon has the best car tonight. Can he?
Can he seal the deal?
Little wobble right there. Matt Kenseth. Well, I thought that was Robbie Gordon when he first went by. That was the black 7, and Matt has been against the wall. Add him to the scrape it up list here on the Darlington Concrete and Safer Barrier. But right now, that is the highest Ford in the race and the highest Roush Fenway team car. Another of the Fords also got the wall this last lap. Watch the red number 9 of Casey Kane right there.
That's a kiss. See if it shakes him around in the seat.
Matt?
And Casey Kane, you can see him working the wheel. He was telling Kenny Francis, I just don't know what else to do. The car is absolutely plowing. It has been a good night, though. On a personal note, his World of Outlaw team swept Eldora, Paul McMahon tonight, and Joey Saldana last night. So good times in the dirt, but he still is trying to work on his pavement car.
Scott Speed was on pit road, but he gets a commitment line violation, and that'll be a pass-through penalty for the 82. And he'll go from 3 to 4 laps down with the penalty pass. The 33 of Clint Boyer you saw there, in and out with brake trouble, spent a lot of time in the garage, 37 laps down. Kevin Conway in and out of the garage with crash damage, 49 laps down. Everybody else is within 7 laps of the lead.
Right now is when your head really starts hurting, because you're right now you're focusing so hard not to make a mistake. You've got yourself, Jeff Gordon, Jeff Burton here, they got themselves in a position to win this race. Don't make a mistake.
I think I know what's going on with Jeff Burton in that 31 car. You see the 24 group. One of Jeff Hammond's checklist in the beginning was the pit crew. You've got to be flawless, mistake-free. And they're talking about what could be a very critical stop coming on. But going back to Jeff Burton, I think I know what's going on with the 31 car is the fact that he was starting to get a little bit loose. We know we're into a long green run. He's backing off, saving that right rear tire, knowing he's going to have to go another 20 laps on it.
And Larry, you were looking a minute ago as we see Jeff Burton at the 24-car pit crew, and that was their pit crew coach, Greg Morin. He was rallying the troops. He was letting them know, guys, we got to close the deal out, and we don't need to cost our driver here on pit road. This is the game plan. If caution comes out, we're going to do this. If we go green, we're going to do this. A lot of the teams will start talking strategy late in the race so they can be ready to go. I'm impressed right now that the 24 crew, they're getting up on a chip with 96 laps to go to be ahead of the curve tonight.
Yeah, Jeff, if they come in, they're going to have a pretty nice lead, pretty comfortable lead when they come down pit road. Just don't make a mistake. Give us a solid stop. 14 seconds, you'll be fine.
3 hours into the Southern 500 with 96 laps to go. Jeff Gordon nursing a 3.3 second lead. Like that scooter, you could win it and other cool prizes, including a VIP race weekend. Log on to ups.com/racing and enter for your chance to win. Jeff Gordon's lead at 2.2 seconds. It's dropped a bit on Jeff Burton. David Rudiman 3.4 back. Juan Montoya 5.6, and Denny Hamlin right with him.
Jeff can't get around his 34 car. He's been following him now for a number of laps, and we've seen this before. It really cuts into that lead when you get held up like that.
Well, Travis Quapple in the 34 was trying to stay just 1 lap down, hoped to get a caution. Now he will go a 2nd lap down.
With 88 laps to go, let's get downstairs for our DirecTV pit whip and begin with Steve.
Mike, Denny Hamlin trying to sweep the races here in Darlington. He just said, I'm too loose in getting in the corners. It's the loosest I have been all day. Denny right now in the 5th position. Matt Yokin.
And Kevin Harvick trying to reel in the 42 to gain 1 more spot, chasing that 11 in the head-to-head. Now Harvick says the car has been free most of the night. They've made a number of changes, haven't quite got it where he totally needs it. The next stop, Gil Martin is also going to put on a set of scuffs and see if that helps him with the forward bite issue that he's been looking for. Dick?
Well, Martin Truex had a good start to the night, got involved in a crash, worked his way all the way up to 4th, and then suffered a driveline failure.
Backstretch. A big crash involving Bobby Labonte and David Gilliland. And that'll bring out caution flag number 10. And that'll be the night for Gilliland.
Look at that. You got water coming out of the overflow up here by the windshield, fire coming out the tailpipes. If he could get that turned down a little bit.
Yeah, now all we need is driver out of car.
Yeah,
well, he fires it up. That takes care of it.
That's just raw fuel.
And he's going to drive it in on the rim. Let's watch this one unfold from Mark Martin's view.
Whoa, Bobby just got
Come here, now watch him. Stay high, come on.
the 71 car. Bobby Labonte just gets loose coming off that corner. Bobby's had a little trouble tonight.
Labonte has taken his car to the garage. Casey Kane will be the free pass car. Larry, what's this do to your race strategy?
Well, I was just sitting here studying. We've got those 9 cars out there. They have not changed left side tires since way back on lap 201. I feel like the right call with 85 laps to go is give me 4 tires. You're still going to have to make 1 pit stop, but I think 4 tires would be the way to go right here.
Jeff, how about you?
But Larry, I'm going to tell you something right now. The 18 car Kyle Busch, he's got 4 tires. Now's a good time for him and Dave Rogers to gamble. I'd put 2 tires on the 18, get track position, and then kind of see how the race played out.
All right, Hammond, we were thinking alike.
Yeah,
I'm with you, baby.
I agree. The cars that changed 4 the last time, they can go with the 2 tires. It's those 9 cars that changed 2 the last time. They're in a little bit of a box right here.
I agree. But that 18's in the catbird seat if everybody does what they should do.
What will they do? Time to find out. Dick Berggren.
And David Rudiman comes off the racetrack. He had been running into 3rd position. They've called a 4-tire change here. The goal tonight, keep the car out of the wall. So far, so good. The car has been loose all night long. Krista.
Jeff Burton has had these lefts on since way back on lap 146. So yes, it will be a 4-tire change for the 31. He had also been getting 2 loose in 3 and 4. Steve.
Krista, Jeff Gordon slides into his pit box, clean entry in. They debated 2 or 4. They're going to take 4. He says the car is best has been all night. Meanwhile, Denny Hamlin, bottom left of your screen, 2 loose all the way around, ½ pound out of both rear tires, and a track bar adjustment down. A little bit of a slow stop for Gordon.
4 tires for Hamlin. Looks like Kyle Busch will beat McMurray off the end of pit road.
See, McMurray was one of those cars like Kyle Busch that took 4 tires the last time, but as you can see, a lot of them elected to go with 4 here with 80-something laps to go.
See, the timing was perfect to take 4 tires the last stop, so you could do this for track position now.
Here is a look at Jeff Gordon's pit stop as we're 84 laps to go, and the game has changed in Darlington.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox is sponsored by Subway Restaurants. Enjoy so many $5 footlong subs all day, every day, only at Subway. By Nationwide Insurance. Call or visit us online for a quote today. By Toyota. And by Sprint, proud sponsor of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series.
Now, the race off pit road is decided by the position of the front bumper, not the splitter, and that's important as we show you right here. Kyle Busch is first off pit road.
And what's interesting, Jamie McMurray is the last pit leaving pit road. Kyle Busch is the 2nd pit coming in.
So when we said he cleared him by a bumper, that's what he cleared that early.
Busch and McMurray row 1 for the restart with 81 to go. Hamlin, Jeff Gordon, Burton and Rudiman, Montoya, Kurt Busch, Vickers and Harvick. Here we go.
Here they go. 18-11 teammates pushing each other off into the first turn to go 1-2.
Different paint jobs, but it looks a lot like last night with 2 Joe Gibbs Toyotas out in front late in the race.
Well, think about it. Jamie McMurray last night was right up in the mix of those guys.
He ran 3rd last night.
He's 3rd right now. Harvick trying to make some noise on the bottom. So is the 42 of Montoya.
Got a little Wad right here, boys. A little tight getting down into turn 1 here. Let's see what happens.
Jeff Gordon, Jeff Burton were leading before the stop. They are now 4th and 5th.
Brett got a great run off of turn 2 that time. Really was able to close right back up on the back of Jeff, but to no avail. These two guys are drafting away from everybody else.
Steve?
Might have a little tip on strategy here on the 11 car, Mike. Mike Ford just told Denny, take care of your lefts. They could be the last ones you get.
I'll guarantee you they're the last left side tires they're going to see. I'd take all the lefts in the pits and take them to the garage area.
Well, he did that last night and it paid off for him, and I'm pretty sure it's going to work tonight too.
Now wait a minute. When you turn the car, all the front tires both turn. How do you take care of your left side tires?
You just don't turn so much. Just try to not work the front tires too much.
Or let your teammate go by for the lead, as Kurt Busch just did. And now the front 3 drivers are the same as the way they finished last night. Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Jamie McMurray.
And last night, Denny Hamlin had the better of the 2 cars, the better of the 2 Gibbs cars. Kyle had to settle for 2nd. And he may have to do that again tonight if things stay the way they are, obviously.
Well, if Kyle has decided to let Denny go and not race him for now, then this is the new Kyle Busch, isn't it?
It's pretty big picture racing for him.
Now, even though we have downplayed the importance of 4 fresh tires versus 2, remember Denny Hamlin, Mike Ford at 11, they changed 4 tires on that last caution. Their teammate Kyle Busch in the 18, like McMurray in the 1, went with 2.
Jeff Gordon was leading this race before the caution flag. Steve, what's up?
Mike, just before the restart, Jeff Gordon is so focused on trying to finally get a win. Listen to what he told his spotter, Shannon McLamory.
And one thing you need to keep an eye on is if somebody brushes the wall, you know, just look at the damage, because it's only a matter of time before they're going to blow a right front tire.
You know, I understand what he's saying, but in all honesty, tonight I haven't seen anybody blow a right front tire from anything, really.
Yeah, the only one we knew of was early in the race. Michael McDowell actually cooked the bead on the right front tire, a lot from brake heat.
Now there's been a fierce battle between the 2 cars trying to be the first car 1 lap down. The 56 and the 20. Martin Truex, Joey Logano were going hard at it. Logano had the position until this.
This had been going on even before that last caution.
Whoa.
Logano actually gets into the wall hard.
I'm not so sure that Truex in the 56 didn't nudge him just a teeny bit right there. I'm not sure. It's hard to say, but I think he did.
Doesn't take much here. Nope. The speed you're running. Well, I don't know if he did, Darren.
Kind of hard to say.
But when you run up on that left rear corner that hard and you're a little bit free anyhow, it just loosens you on up.
Now, Joey was slipping and sliding, and there's a little nudge on that left rear corner, just a little. David Reagan goes past. And so for now, it's Martin Truex, the first car 1 lap down.
It's usually a pretty good guess. If 2 cars are real close together and one of them almost spins out or goes up and hits the wall, it may have most likely was contact.
Trouble will find you here. You don't have to go looking for it.
No.
72 laps to go. At least 1 more pit stop, as we're about 3 hours and 17 minutes into this race. The Southern 500 since 1950 traditionally run on Labor Day because of a South Carolina blue law that prohibited auto racing on Sunday. So they qualify and practice Friday and Saturday. Sunday there'd be a big parade, and Monday the race.
Those Sundays were hard on the old drivers. Come in here on Monday morning, it was sad looking.
Sundays or Saturday night?
the weekend.
Here's Sprint's inside look at what's happening now inside the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Fastest lap of the race, Jeff Burton. He set it back at lap 241. And the biggest mover, no surprise, Kyle Busch. who started last and is running second.
You know, Mike, you can see those two Toyotas there of Gibbs is sort of pulling away a little bit, but I still believe that the Jeff Gordon car and the 31 car, Jeff Burton, they may have something to say about this race before this thing ends, because they got two good race cars too. There's Coach Gibbs, great guy, love him,
and his son JD, who operates the team.
Feel pretty confident, wouldn't you? You got last night you run first and second, piece of cake. Tonight you're sitting here running first and second. Coach Gibbs said, I got this thing figured out.
But you know what they may have figured out, Darrell, is you talked about the woes of the 48 team since we went to this rear spoiler. This is the 6th race for the spoiler. Yeah, the 48 team has been struggling, but when you think about Joe Gibbs Racing, they've won 3 of the 5, and here in the 6th one, they're sitting there running 1-2 right now with 2 cars.
In other words, you think they like the changes that's been made?
If they don't, it's a surprise they wouldn't like it.
Third place is heated up with Jamie Mack, Jeff Gordon, and Jeff Burton all running about 2 seconds off the lead and running almost the same lap times as Hamlin and Busch, but not quite.
Jamie just pulled down and let those 2 cars, with the 24 and the 31, he let them go. They're a little quicker than he was.
7th place battle. Kurt Busch trying to take the spot from Montoya. And here comes Vickers. Boy, he's been persistent tonight.
He has. He's had a good car. He stayed up in the top 10 most all night. Done a nice job.
Whoa, these guys are going at it hard. Montoya in the 42 and Kurt Busch in the 2.
That's 2 rocks right there.
Smart here.
Whose spotter was that? Should have been all 3 of them, right?
All 4 of them.
Yes. That was Montoya's spotter, and Montoya bounced off the wall.
Okay, led to 83. You're fine.
Ryan Newman in the 39, part of that 4-car battle for 7.
And remember, Montoya needs points. He's got to make up a lot of points if he's going to try to get back in the chase. He's had 2 good weekends. Don't mess it up tonight.
At the moment, 18th in the standings. Right where he came in.
You know, Mike, if you go back to our FedEx understanding the race, the numbers say we don't normally get that late race caution here at Darlington, and if we stay green, all of these cars will have to make a green flag stop somewhere around 20 laps to go.
Right now is when you got to have it in your mind. Race the track. Race the track. Don't make a mistake.
Darrell, the crews are hot. They've had it was 90 degrees during the day here. The drivers have been in these cars now for 3 hours and 20 minutes. What's the wear down factor on the driver?
You're right on the verge of exhausted when you get out of this race car. Your head hurts, your eyes burn, your back hurts, your neck's a little stiff. You're right on the edge right here of fatigue right at this point in the race. You've been out here a long time. You're hot, you're tired, you're dehydrated. It's a tough night's work, boys.
And those crews, they've made a lot of pit stops, and they know the next one may be the final and the most important one.
64 laps to go.
Denny Hamlin, your leader, with 58 laps to go. And aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. For the most sports in HD, call 1-800-DirecTV as Kyle Busch is battling Hamlin along with Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers from the Hollywood Hotel. And there goes Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon right now, he's starting to inch up along with Jeff Burton. They just made a pit stop not too long ago, got 4 tires. Kyle Busch elected to stay out and only get 2 tires, and slowly it's starting to show the difference right now. But Gordon is definitely, I think, picking up our leader, Denny Hamlin.
Jeff Gordon has led the most laps tonight. He's led the most laps in 6 Darlington races, but he only won twice in that situation. Of course, he's won here 7 times. I want to go back into second here behind Hamlin. Kyle Busch slipped back just a little bit, but he started 39th. What a night he's had adventurous-wise this weekend. Remember, in a backup car because of the practice issues here at Darlington.
They've been doing everything right to get him back in the position to win this race tonight. Dave Rogers has made some good calls. Kyle's kept the car basically clean, and he's still got a great chance to be able to finally get to victory lane or get here at Darlington again if he'll just keep running like he's running.
And Hamlin, 1 month after the knee surgery, 13.5 hours if you add up practicing, qualifying, and winning on Saturday night, and still he's raced strong here. He says this is the best rehab.
He is the bionic man as far as I'm concerned right now. What he's been able to do last night and tonight, he works his way through pain. These guys keep giving him great race cars. Mike Ford knows exactly what buttons to push. This 11 car, as Darrell pointed out earlier, it's basically destined, I think, to win tonight, the way things are going.
And yet a pit stop, a pit crew could have a lot to say. And, of course, the restarts. If you want to vote for the fastest pit crew, as Jeff does every week, text to 2258, delivered by AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin's crews performed very well tonight, along with Jeff Gordon and Jamie McMurray's. And, hey, DW, you said early on in the broadcast, the first 90% of the race, you go 90%. The final 10%, you go 100%. Is it about time for Denny Hamlin to go 100%?
You know, Jeff, I'm watching him, and I'm just amazed that he is running the pace he's running with the amount of time he's been in a race car over the last couple of days, and he's able to continue to just lay down fast lap after fast lap. But Jeff Gordon is coming, Jeff. That's the guy to keep an eye on, because he's coming.
Now, last lap, Jeff Gordon was a quarter second faster than Hamlin. Gordon has only won once in the last 11 races in which he has led more than 100 laps. He's led 110 tonight, only one win. He's led 600 laps this season. Has a pile of second places. Needs his first victory of the year.
And if you look at Jeff Gordon's car, I don't think you'll see a scratch on it.
No, sir.
He is about a tenth of a second faster than Hamlin. Traffic, of course, is a factor. Scott Speed just overlapped by the Chesterfield, Virginia driver, who is in the lead and has been out front for 55 laps tonight.
Well, that's okay. It's just a little nerf. You heard it. It didn't make a lot of noise. It usually is a big crashing sound if it hits hard. He just clicked it.
Just kissed it.
Wasn't a tank slapper. Just a little rub.
But the thing I'm seeing right now, and I know it's a lot due to traffic, he has one of the slowest cars in the top 10 right now, Denny Hamlin, the 11.
Yeah, that time Jeff Gordon took 3/10 out of his lead, and then Hamlin picked up the pace. He's again one of the fastest on the lead lap, along with Jeff Burton and Kurt Busch.
Scott Speed, when Hamlin had to work around Scott Speed, slowed him down just for a little bit, but he's back up to speed. Now he's got a couple other slow cars. Slow cars determine so much here.
Oh, by the way, that other Jeff we've been speaking about, Jeff Burton in that 31, he's on the move too. You can see how close he is reeled in that 24 car, Krista.
He has been completely quiet on the radio this run until the last lap. He just came on the radio and said, I'm just getting a little bit tight.
Thanks, Krista. Kevin Conway brushed the wall. He's been in and out of the garage a bunch and is 50 laps down as a result, but he has finished every race this year.
He got a little help.
Rookie. He did?
He got a little help. Yeah, he was getting past, and I think Kevin Harvick actually put a squeeze on him.
Fox Saturday Baseball next weekend, and NASCAR Sunday with NASCAR on Fox at Dover, Delaware. Here's what happened to Conway in the 37.
Actually, it was the 83 that put the squeeze on him. I saw Kevin come off the corner with the Conway up against the wall there. So the 83 actually put the squeeze on him.
Kyle Busch going past, now in 4th place. And here comes Burton after Jeff Gordon for 2nd. Matt?
Shades of that battle they had back in, what, 98 when they were battling for the win, the $1 million for Gordon. Right now, that would be like a win. The car loose this entire run. He says now, though, it is starting to tighten up. Steve Letarte, he's going to go 2 tires on the final stop, which also should help tighten up that race car for the short run to the finish.
Well, we've seen this most of the evening. I have with the 31 car. Really, really good at the end of a long run.
And this season, that has been Jeff Gordon's strong suit, Larry. Long runs are to his liking. Short runs and restarts, not so much.
Well, I definitely believe that Jeff Gordon would be one of the cars. He does not want to see a caution come out in these final 46 laps. But I agree with what Matt just said. I think that's what you'll see with all these teams as we see the 31 team, Todd Berry, the crew chief, conferring there. You only need to be there for just about 4 or 5 seconds of fuel to get to the end. So I think definitely go ahead and get the right side tires. I would not put 4 tires on with 20-something laps to go.
Jeff Burton has moved into 2nd, trying to put himself in a position to beat Denny Hamlin and claim his first victory of the season.
Tires are based on how much fuel you got to put in, just like you said. If it's a splash and go, just splash and go.
And you may see some teams just do a little bit of splash and go.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Kyle Busch just a few laps ago ran his quickest lap of the race. So the track may be getting a little bit faster here. Are we going to see something like last night, where those cars on worn out tires ran their fastest laps right at the end and nobody needed rubber?
Well, I think that would kind of concur with what Darrell was saying, Jeff Hammond, that these guys that only need about 20 laps of fuel may see some of them, especially the guys on back in the pack on the lead lap, do a little splash and go.
And Larry, that's a great idea if you want to try to gain some positions, but what I would be concerned about, and making sure that my spotter and my crew chief are working together on this to remind my driver, getting on the pit road here can be very tricky. You don't want to give up too much time, but you also don't want to come in, hit that commitment cone, and all of a sudden hit a pass through or crash into the end of that pit wall trying to get on pit road in a hurry. So you've got to get control of this final pit stop, especially if it's green flag, and don't mess it up.
You know what? The other part, too, guys, I'd like to be the last one to come to pit road.
Well, and I think you will see that. Now, the one thing I do want to point out, one reason I would take 2 tires, Darrell, is because if we get a caution in those last 20 laps, then I'm staying out. If I don't have fresh tires even on the right side, I may be forced to have to pit.
More on strategy, Dick Berggren.
Well, Kyle Busch is in a special situation because on the last round of pit stops, he took 2 tires. And as the tires are giving up, the car is getting more and more loose on Kyle Busch. His crew has told him that, in fact, the pace is picking up. And although he just picked it up some, he hasn't picked it up enough yet.
And that's one of the concerns I have. It's a two-edged sword. Running a race last night, you learn a few things. But physically, at a track like this, at the end of the night, where we are right now, that drain on you physically has an effect on how your car doesn't handle as good because you're getting tired. Your feedback's not as good because you're getting tired. You don't hit your marks quite as good because you're getting tired. Wearing yourself down here physically, I mean, I think that's a big advantage for Burton. He didn't run last night.
Lap time wise, they're pretty much mirroring each other. Denny Hamlin in the 11-hour leader and Jeff Burton in the 31 in second.
Wow, Larry, they've really slowed down since qualifying. He only went 187 miles an hour into turn 3.
About 3 or 4 miles an hour off, about it.
20 more laps, Jeff.
Here are your leaders, 1 second apart, Hamlin and Burton.
That's taking it right to the edge, Larry. 20 more laps.
Which will be about 20 laps to go.
What can we do to help you?
Now, Jeff Gordon has fallen 3 seconds back of the lead.
I think it makes sense, Larry, for him to come possibly because he's fallen off. His car is really fallen off.
Kyle Busch in 4th, 4.5 seconds back.
You know how I mean, I don't know how you guys do it in the pits, but I know out there on the racetrack, when my lap times start to go away, I want to do something.
Yeah, because it's not going to come back.
Kurt Busch 6 seconds back in 5th place. Jamie McMurray 9 seconds off the lead, running in 6th, but still quite a race for the pole sitter.
And he's in the same boat that the 18 car is on that last caution, took just 2 right side tires.
And now Burton's going to close up right on the back bumper of Denny Hamlin in the 11 because of the traffic that they're getting ready to come into. And here's a guy that we just seem like every week he finds himself in a little hole that we don't even realize he's there. David Rudiman in the 00 Aaron's car. He's sitting there running in 7th place. Last week he slipped in there. What did he finish? Well, he didn't finish all that great last week, but he's top 15. This guy has a way of just kind of hanging around and getting good finishes.
Look at how clean Rudiman's car is and how rumpled up.
Well, the left side's clean.
is.
The left side's clean, right side's not.
Not so much. Yep. For Juan Montoya. Brian Vickers has been in the top 10 just about all night. And earlier led 9 laps.
Been a nice night for that team. Yep. Really has.
And they needed it.
Kevin Harvick trying to hold off Ryan Newman at 10th place.
He actually just drove by Ryan Newman to take that 10th spot away from Newman in the 39.
Newman has been a top 15 car all night. And Brad Keselowski for the lead. Jeff Burton.
All clear, bud. All clear.
That Chevrolet goes to the front, and here comes Hamlin on the inside. Not so fast.
I had him and I lost him.
That was interesting.
It was. Well, that little tail happy getting off of turn 2, that kind of got Burton's attention, and it broke his momentum just enough that Hamlin in the 11 was able to shoot back around.
And we had got the report that Jeff Burton had been complaining about his car getting a little free, and it was free late exit of turn 2 that time.
So Burton has to regrid to try to get past Hamlin once more.
And while that's going on, Jeff Gordon back there is licking his chops. He's now pulled within a second and a half in that 24 car of those 2 leaders.
Yeah, he's cut that distance in half. See this again.
Well, what happens here, Jeff he got by the 11, but as he comes off, he didn't hit the wall. But boy, that scares you right there when you're coming off that corner and the back end comes around, because you just lucky to save it, man. Lucky to save it.
Steve, that was interesting for Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, he made the move work, Mike, but he just told Mike Ford, he said, I've gotten a little bit tight. Mike said, 10-4, we're going to see you on pit road in about 17 laps.
That seems like an eternity at this point of the night. 17 more laps.
And that's half the distance they have to run. So he'll be stopping with about 16 to go, as Denny Hamlin has gone back to the lead, fending off a challenge from Jeff Burton. Who's going to win it? You better stick around. Joey Logano's made a pit stop. Paul Menard, now Dale Jr. is in. Up front, Jeff Burton goes back to the lead around the 11 of Denny Hamlin. Meanwhile, Jeff Gordon made a mistake. He was trying to get onto pit road. Tony Stewart made a late entry in, and Gordon could not make the commit cone. So he lost a lot of time, had to come all the way around, and now comes on pit road. And caution waves.
Caution's out. Got a car spun off turn 2.
When we've got a bunch of our lead lap cars on pit road, I think they'll just keep going, and they should be able to stay on the lead lap. Looks like Mark Martin in the 5, he's going to go ahead and try to get his 2 tires.
Same with David Rudiman, who made his pit stop. Everybody else just cycles through, and it'll take a minute to sort this one out, as caution is out for the 11th time tonight.
Now, if these guys like Mark Martin in the 5, if they win the battle to the end of pit road, they would have done their pit stop, and they'll be golden right here.
This will take a little sorting out. And Jeff Gordon, a lap ago, tried to get onto pit road. Tony Stewart was ducking in. Gordon couldn't make it to the commit cone, and he had slowed down almost to pit road speed. He had to zip around the track again to come into pit road, and he's lost a lot of track position as a result.
I think the 24's got to be at least 1 lap down, doesn't he, Larry? And that would maybe keep him from going 2.
Now he goes around the caution car here and will await a ruling.
He may not have. He may be on the lead lap.
If he did not stop in his pits that time, he should be in good shape.
Got it.
Right.
Got it.
He went down pit road, did not stop.
But he missed. But he slowed down.
Right.
So he missed pit road on his first attempt.
Right. Stayed
so he
on
had to
track.
go all the way around. So it's going to be hard for him to stay on the lead lap.
Then the caution comes out.
I don't see how he can be.
And he shoots down pit road before the leader comes around, and the caution car picks him up.
But that would have been all right on his first try. But he was on his second try.
But the first try he didn't come down pit road. He stayed out on the racetrack.
And he was close enough to the leaders that he should not, he didn't lose all that much time.
Somebody help me.
Working on it. Jeff Burton is the leader. Denny Hamlin, Kyle and Kurt Busch, and Jamie McMurray are the front 5. There are 13 cars on the lead lap, including Jeff Gordon, who will be the last car on the lead lap.
All right, this is why the caution came out right here.
6 off of 2, you'll be clear behind him. Off the wall now.
Joey Logano just had left pit road and was trying to blend in and just lost it.
Come on. Caution's out.
And that's what brought the caution.
You know who's going to be in really good shape? I think the 5.
The 5 car.
You know how he won this race last year?
By being out front.
A late pit stop got him out front.
All right, we have the explanation from NASCAR as to Jeff Gordon. We'll give it to you after the pit stops. Dick Bergman.
And Kyle Busch is pitting. He's going to take just 2 tires on the car and a minor chassis adjustment to try to tighten it up. Krista.
Jeff Burton told his boys, make it a good one. He has a trump card there, the defending winners of the Pit Crew Challenge. They won the money then. Can they beat money now? Right side tires, Matt.
The Blue Deuce wants right side tires only. Says leave the car alone chassis-wise. Steve.
Denny Hamlin to pit road. They debated 2 or 4. Denny said 2 will guarantee me track position. Mike Hicks and Jonathan Sherman changed the tire.
I think the 31 car is going to have to come back to pit road. He ran over the air hose on pit out.
Matt's in front of Jeff Gordon.
And Jeff Gordon is in. Now they are going to go 4 sticker tires. Actually going scuff tires. 4 scuff tires for the 24.
Now,
no changes.
Here's the explanation from NASCAR on Jeff Gordon's position. When the caution waved, Gordon had to beat the race leader to the start-finish line. And did. You see, Gordon is past the start-finish line when that caution comes out.
This is Hamlin, right? That's Hamlin in the 31,
Burton and Hamlin.
Right over here.
So since Gordon, who is right there on pit road, got to the start-finish line before Burton and Hamlin, he is on the lead lap. The pace car picks up the leader down in turn number 1, and they cycle Gordon around. So he remains on the lead lap, and Darrell, you are correct. Jeff Burton now comes in to serve his penalty.
Yeah, you'll see here that the guy has trouble on the right front, and Jeff takes off on the drop of the jack, and demoralizing right here. You can't do that. You can't run over the air hose.
The tire changer has to bring that air wrench and hose back around to the other side of the car before the car leaves, or there is a penalty.
So they're going to go ahead and just put left side tires on there. They're pretty much, it's nothing lost by doing it.
Except all that track position, Larry, because right now we have 18 cars on the lead lap.
The 2 best cars at that point were the 24 and the 31, and they're both going to be at the tail end of the lead lap.
Carl Edwards is the free pass car on this, the 11th caution flag of the night.
Darrell, here's what I think happened with the 5 car Mark Martin. You see him, that lime green car there, about the 3rd car behind. Right now, he is on the tail end of the lead lap. Our leader, Denny Hamlin, is well back in the field. What you're going to see, since they've got enough fuel and fresh right side tires, you will see probably all these cars, including Greg Biffle in the 16 car who had also pitted, they're going to take the wave around. Denny Hamlin in the 11 is the leader of the race right now.
That's the way it should be, but I wasn't so sure that Mark and Alan Gustafson hadn't snookered these guys again by getting in there and getting that work done and coming out with the lead.
Well, if Jeff Gordon just barely beat him back, Mark Martin was well behind Jeff Gordon by going ahead and stopping. There was no way they could do it without going a lap down.
Because under this new procedure, the pace car will drift back and pick up
here's
the race
Hamlin.
leader.
Here's Hamlin, our leader back there. All these cars in front of him, they will take the wave around, and he will be the leader of the race. Just like we drew it up in the pre-race show, Jeff and I.
And there they go.
Now, anyone in that position who did not wish to take the wave around would have to drift to the back behind all of the lead lap cars. Lead lap cars in front for the restart.
And some of these cars that took the wave around here, it doesn't necessarily put them back on the lead lap. They just get 1 other laps back.
Well, let's look at David Rudiman. I mean, David Rudiman was running in the top 10 there. You know, we talked about him running 7th. He is now at the tail end of the lead lap, running 15th.
To remind you what happened to Jeff Gordon as he attempted to come on pit road prior to the caution coming out. There you see the 14 of Tony Stewart up high. That left no room for Gordon. Couldn't get himself slowed down enough to enter behind Stewart. Stayed out on track. Then he came around, got on pit road. The caution came out.
And it looks like he's going to restart in the 11th position with 20 laps to go.
Steve Letarte is, I almost feel like Steve Letarte is blaming himself for that, and I'm not sure why. Maybe he knew Stewart was coming to pit road.
18 lead lap cars, the front 9 rows led by teammates Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin. Whoa. Here we go, 20 to go.
Man, Hamlin got the big restart that time. Woo.
And Jamie Mack slides into 2nd place.
Yeah, Hamlin got a great restart. McMurray followed him right up through there.
That was a big surprise because Kyle has been so good on the restarts, but not tonight.
Kyle Busch sits 3rd. His older brother Kurt is 4th. Montoya 5th in the 42. Kevin Harvick 6th.
Mike Larry, I believe that caution is just what Denny Hamlin needed. Gives him a chance to stretch his leg a little bit, relax. He should be able to drive off and leave these guys.
Boy, that big pack there pounded 3 wide into turn 1, and I didn't think they were all going to make it.
I didn't either, and neither did they.
Kurt Busch passed Kyle, and that's for 3rd.
Kyle Montoya is coming with him in the 42.
Kyle is getting freight trained, man. I don't know. His car just didn't come up to speed.
And here comes Mr. Where did he come from? Kevin Harvick. You're riding with him. Let's get an update on why Jeff Gordon missed pit road the first time around. Matt?
Mike Gordon told Steve Letarte that he looked in his mirror, he waved off a car that was coming behind him. He didn't think that car saw him waving off that he was going to be entering pit road. That car's speed was too much. It messed Gordon's speed up trying to enter pit road. That's why he missed the entrance, he said.
Well, Matt, he's on the move right now. He just goes by Brian Vickers in that 83. That moves him into the 8th position, but he's 3 1/4 seconds behind leader Denny Hamlin.
Oh, yeah, but that's going to get all wiped out here very shortly. The way these guys are racing back in the pack here. There is some serious knocking and banging and beating going on back here. Bunch of cars are sideways. Not in front of this guy. This guy's he's got what he wants. Clean air.
Got the nose of that car in the wind. Denny Hamlin has never had a weekend sweep of the Nationwide and Sprint Cup Series races. He won last night. He could sweep the weekend tonight.
Well, we watched that car all during practice, the 11 car. Here we see Jeff Gordon getting another one here, but he's had some contact with somebody. You see that left front tire's got all the lettering rubbed off of it.
7th place at stake here as he works under Ryan Newman.
But we watched that 11 car in practice. It was flawless. That car handled like it was on a rail.
We really thought he had a shot at the pole. Car got just a little too tight. Wouldn't turn for him like it needed to.
That's why he's able to run last night and win and sit here leading tonight. His cars have really handled amazingly well.
Now Hamlin's teammate Kyle Busch restarted with him, but Dick, he's dropped back to 6th. What's up?
Well, they made the slightest little adjustment, added a little bit more bite to the left rear corner of the car, Mike. That should have solved this problem being too loose, but according to Kyle, it just killed the car. He said, plow, plow, plow. The chassis gone.
Oh, wow.
This has still been a great night for this 18 car to start this race with a backup car. No practice, started 43rd, drove up there, led the race, still well within the top 10, but he's got a mirror full of Jeff Gordon in that 24 car right now.
Wow, Elliott Sadler has hit the wall with a 19, but continues.
Elliott's 1 lap down back in the 21st position in this 19 car.
But just to follow up on Kyle Busch a little bit as we take a look at here and see what happened to Elliott Sadler. Just gets in there and gets a little too high. Man, it's just that close. You're running so close to the wall. But when we talk about Kyle Busch in the 18 car, the new Kyle Busch is the guy that's getting this car home with whatever it'll do. Right. Not running it in the wall trying to win a race in a car that's just not capable of it. That's the new Kyle Busch.
Well, he did not make it easy for Jeff Gordon in that 24 car to get by him.
Next to, no problem. 12 to go.
But he now clears, and that moves Jeff up into the 6th position. But Jeff just ran a 28.44. Our leader Denny Hamlin just ran a 28.46, pretty much a mirror of each other.
Jeff Gordon in 6th. Jeff Burton, who had to serve that penalty, restarted back in 18th, and he's come up to 11th. Next Sunday, coverage begins at noon, Dover, Delaware. Be with us on Fox at the Monster Mile. Tonight, Darlington has dealt a bad hand to Jimmy Johnson. He went out of the race in a crash with A.J. Allmendinger and finished 36th. Burton trying to come back, but there's only 10 laps to go.
Yeah, the only thing that's going to save a couple of these guys, Jeff Gordon and Jeff Burton, is should we get one caution here at the end of the race. Right now, things have settled down. Everybody's kind of single file right now. I don't think there's not any reason to have a caution that, from racing each other. I think everybody's just trying to bring it home right now. Well,
except Montoya and Harvick for fourth place.
I take that back. This is a couple of good ones right here going at it. Harv's done a nice job tonight, and Montoya has too. Montoya has been into a lot of trouble tonight to be where he is.
And these two guys do not need to get themselves in trouble. Kevin Harvick's our points leader coming in here, should leave the points leader. As you mentioned, Montoya needs a third good run to build some of those points back that he lost in the beginning.
He's doing it too. I mean, if he can finish this race where he is, he's going to make up a bunch more points tonight.
Yeah, Montoya could leave here one spot up in the points, 17th from when he came in. The big gainer tonight is going to be Jamie McMurray, who came in here 19th and is poised to leave here 16th in the standings as he runs second to Denny Hamlin.
See, when this late in the race, when somebody's faster than you are, no moss. No moss. You go.
That's Jeff Gordon in the 24 car, just cracks the top 5. Problem, almost 5 seconds behind leader Denny Hamlin now, as they'll be coming to 7 to go.
And the good thing for Denny Hamlin is he's got enough cushion now that working traffic is not going to be a problem for him.
Yeah, Jamie Mack is 1.2 seconds back of Hamlin. And Kurt Busch just dispensed with a lap car. He's trying to run down McMurray, but the laps are going to wind down quicker than that.
As a matter of fact, 11's not even going to catch any traffic. He's not. The race is winding down, and he's got clear sailing, so he's got it made.
But when I look at Jamie McMurray in that one car, when you think about it, as we were getting close to the end of 2009, he had no idea what his future was going to hold. Chip Ganassi picks him up. He wins the Daytona 500. He finishes second at Talladega a couple of weeks ago, and right now comes here after setting a new track record yesterday, sitting here running second.
5 laps to go for Hamlin.
I like the game plan that he's on this year, driving the Junior Motorsports Nationwide car a little bit. He's happy. He and Bono seem to be getting along really well. He loves where he is. He's happy over there at Ganassi's. It's just turned him around. Different driver.
Jeff Gordon battling back, trying to take over 4th from Montoya in these final 5 laps.
And it's another night for the 24 of what could have been.
Yes. Now he will gain 2 positions in the standings. Gordon will leave here 4th. But another victory, another possible victory, goes to someone else.
And we're going to we've been to his bread and butter tracks. This is one of them.
7 times he's won here.
Right. Martinsville was one of them. There's so many places we've been that are Jeff Gordon racetracks.
11th place, Rudeman and Keselowski. And Carl Edwards, twice he's had the free pass, but he's on the lead lap. He's going to get a top 15 finish out of a weekend that started off horribly in practice and qualifying.
Well, in fact, 3 of the Roush Fenway cars has just cracked the top 15. In fact, David Reagan in the 6th. He's the highest running Roush Fenway car in 13th.
Carl Edwards has just gutted it out this whole weekend. Had a bad car in practice qualifying, but he hung in there and did his job.
2 to go next time for Denny Hamlin.
You know, Mike, he has never finished worse than 13th here, and Joe Gibbs brought him here in 2004 and made his debut in the Nationwide Series. Had to start at the rear of the field because qualifying was rained out, and came home with a top 10 finish.
All I can tell you is, I said this earlier and I'm going to say it again. If getting your knees repaired will make you run like he's been running, I'm getting both of mine done.
Coming for the white flag. Hamlin says the worst part about the recovery from surgery, he has not been able to do his cardio training. So the best training he's done has been behind the wheel. A winner last night and half a lap away from his first weekend sweep in NASCAR's top 2 divisions.
If this is the toughest track we go to, this cat has tamed it last night and tonight.
Off turn 4 for the final time. Denny Hamlin.
All we do is win.
Wins the Showtime Southern 500. His 11th career victory in his 162nd start. And his 3rd win of 2010. Tying Jimmy Johnson for the most wins this season.
That's his mom.
Proud of you, man. Kept your head. Could have lost today, but you did good. Proud of you, man.
Well,
Mike Ford, the crew chief.
I guess if you come in here, one of the Fast 4 for the DirecTV head-to-head, if you want to take the money for your charity, win the race.
I wonder if anybody won the $1 million. Any fan?
I don't know, but did I win anything? I had Hamlin tonight.
Yes, you did.
And that's it.
Our congratulations. A hearty handshake.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see you in Dover. Light them up, Denny.
For the second night in a row.
Piece of cake, Larry. Piece of cake.
Jamie McMurray second, Kurt Busch, Jeff Gordon, and Juan Montoya the top 5. Harvick, Kyle Busch, Jeff Burton, Ryan Newman, and Ryan Vickers the top 10. We'll have all the celebration for you from Darlington right after this.
Promotional considerations provided by
Hey, we just won the Southern 500, boys. I think we got some charity money, too.
Denny's charity gets $250,000 from DirecTV for winning that Final Four. Our DirecTV head-to-head knockout, and Hamlin has now won 3 of the last 6 races. Pre-surgery, 15th in the points, and Steve Burns, he'll leave here 6th in the standings. What a win for Hamlin.
A lot of happy racers down here, Mike Joy. Denny Hamlin gets out, and Denny, you said you were concerned about not being able to keep up with your conditioning because of the knee surgery. What does this win? Hey, can I borrow that towel? Say about your toughness and this race team.
Fix the camera.
Thank you. That's good service.
Yeah, but just a great day for us. You know, to pull off the suite on Mother's Day weekend. Got to say happy Mother's Day to my mom, Mary Lou. Just a great weekend for us. We had a car that we had a top 2 car all day. Us, Jeff, and the other Jeff were really strong, and you know, we just put ourselves in position. The pit crew got me out first, and that was the key. Those guys just did a phenomenal job. Just got to thank all the fans for coming out. Great crowd today. You know, got to thank FedEx and all their employees, Sprint, the number 11 team, everyone in JGR, Toyota, Coke, Wiley X, and Gillette.
Denny, also heard you say on the cool-down lap, we raised some money for charity. Big head-to-head win for DirecTV as well.
I love it. I love it. You know, anytime we can give back to the community, we do. I feel like I'm a guy that gives back a lot, and this is just another step for us to be able to give to a lot of kids.
What'd your mom say to you? I saw her stick her head in the window.
She says, "How about that sweep?"
All right, congratulations.
Great night for Denny Hamlin and Joe Gibbs Racing, our DirecTV head-to-head. Let's have a look at the rest of the Final Four. And if you picked them in exact order and they were your 4 and you had a perfect bracket, you could have won $1 million. With Kevin Harvick ending up 6th on the night, Martin Truex 19th. Wow, what a run for Denny Hamlin. Happy Mother's Day, Gay, and Jean and Jeannie, and all the moms.
Stevie and everybody at home, Mama Margaret Waltrip up there in Charles Ford.
Well, we don't want to take anything away from Denny Hamlin. He had a great car all weekend, but who would believe that last pit stop would be a contributing factor to the 2 Jeffs. Jeff Gordon misses pit road. Jeff Burton has a penalty on pit road for running over the air hose. They finished 4th and 8th, respectively.
Yeah, when you do that, you beat yourself, and you go home. It's the hardest win to deal with when you beat yourself.
A great night of action at Darlington. Down to Chris Myers.
Thanks, Mike. And guys, 3rd time this year, Jeff Gordon's led the most laps, still no wins. This time a 4th place finish instead of a 2nd place. But Denny Hamlin becoming the driver that everybody thought at the end of last year before the knee surgery with a successful run and 3 wins already this year to equal Jimmy Johnson, who had his 3rd DNF. Last year he had 1 the entire year.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like this year it's been like a big turnaround. Everybody's been talking about it. When's that horseshoe basically going to go away from the 48? It looks like it's going that direction. And right now it's got to be with this guy, Denny Hamlin. The Bionic Man, I'm starting to call him. They finished strong in 2009. They looked like the team that could challenge Jimmy Johnson for a championship. And he says, guys, I did the surgery because I want to get well. I want to get better. Can you imagine this guy getting stronger? The way he heals up, he's going to be something to watch later on.
All right, as he said, a good car is the best remedy for that knee. What about Jeff Gordon? Another heartbreak loss, and Matt Yoakum is standing by with the driver of the 24.
What a great drive by Jeff Gordon to bounce back from the issue with the pit road entry. Great recovery, but still disappointed over what happened.
Well, yeah, I think we missed the setup a little bit. There were moments when we were awesome. You know, track position is so important at this place. And, you know, it just seemed like on 2 tires we were great, on 4 tires we really struggled. And then, you know, we were going to come in and pit a little early and take 2, and I just didn't signal the guys behind me, and I was going to get run over, and so, you know, I just didn't get slowed down good enough. So my fault. I mean, of course, Steve's saying if we had pitted and the caution come out, we might have been worse trouble, but I still don't like making mistakes like that. And, you know, we had a great car and a great team. I mean, if we'd gotten out front, I think we had something for him, but I don't know if we were ever going to get out in front of the 11. You know, he was good, and I don't know. You know, we'd like to see what would have happened there, but I'm happy that we drove up through there and got 4th.
And this team goes on to yet another great track for Jeff Gordon, the Monster Mile at Dover.
Well, it's been a fantastic weekend for Jamie McMurray, from the pole to a 2nd place finish, your best ever at this racetrack. Did you have fun here at the Lady in Black tonight?
Yeah, I just was praying that there weren't going to be green, white checkers. Once we got to the white flag, I was like, all right, you just got to get around here. You know, tires, it just seemed like track position was really important, and when you could get out front, you could go. And when we got back in traffic, we kind of were a 5th or 6th place car, but our McDonald's Chevrolet was good. It was a really good weekend for us, and I got into the wall early on, and the guys did a really good job fixing it, and we had good pit stops, and I think Juan finished in the top 5 also. So the guys at the shop are just building incredible cars, and it's certainly an honor to get to drive them.
All right, thanks, Jamie. Great night for Earnhardt Ganassi Racing.
Kurt Busch finishing 3rd with a car that's all scraped up on the right-hand side. How hard fought was that 3rd place finish?
It was a great battle. I feel like we did everything right tonight with our strategy. And then to come in for that last stop and be on the 2-tire sequence, that was the best thing that could have happened to us. The last 2 runs were the fastest for the Miller Lite Dodge. So thanks to Steve Addington and all our guys, just kept plugging away. This damage came on the last lap. I threw it all out on the line, giving it all I had to get McMurray. Followed him all night, but just got to say hi to the wife and everybody partying back in Virginia at the condo, and happy Mother's Day. Mom, Grandma, love you guys.
Looks like you had fun tonight.
That's right. And the fun factor was high when your car's looking good and you got a top 5.
Congratulations.
And checking the points, speaking of Virginia, Denny Hamlin, Chesterfield, Virginia, 300 miles north of Darlington here on I-95. And for him, that 3rd win we talked about, moving up, he has gained. Denny Hamlin now 12 positions in the last 4 races. But Jeff, Kevin Harvick now, the largest points lead of the season, 110, behind Jimmy Johnson in 2nd place.
Yeah, but a lot of people right now are looking at that 88 car, Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's jumped back up in the chase for the moment. And, you know, had a pretty impressive run right there overall.
So Denny Hamlin, Jimmy Johnson, part of the story with Kevin Harvick, your points leader, as we head to Dover next Sunday at noon Eastern. And on the pre-race show, we'll be talking with Rick Hendrick, owner, of course, of the car. By the way, Jeff Gordon seemed very emotional. I mean, he tried to get through it, but he seemed really to be affected here.
Well, I think he wanted to win here so bad. He feels like he's right on the edge. And again, he had a really great car one more time, came up short, made a little mistake trying to get on pit road. You know, wouldas, couldas, and shouldas right now have kind of kept him out of victory lane. But you mentioned Dover and the Monster Mile, a great place last year for Jimmy Johnson, our defending champion. He swept up there. But for Denny Hamlin, he's coming in there on a hot streak, but last year Dover was pretty cruel to him. He finished 36th and 22nd. So can he get by Dover? Will it be an Achilles heel for him? And can Jimmy Johnson rebound?
11 races through the 36 race season. This is what is ahead on our Fox affiliates. And another big weekend of sports coverage. Fox Saturday Baseball. Note the time, 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. You'll see the Phillies in action and against the Brewers. Giants, Astros, Mariners, Rays. And then Sunday, as we said, noon Eastern from Dover, Delaware. Some NASCAR on Fox action. And, you know, you heard Denny talk about his mom, Mary Lou, used to come to the racetrack and cross her fingers the entire time that she was at the track. Said she doesn't need to do that anymore, the way he has had been so successful. But he often talks about the sacrifices his mom made along with his dad when he was out of money. They took out a second mortgage on their home, maxed out their credit cards. They estimate they spent millions of dollars to finance his career. And now not only is he paying them back, you heard the charitable efforts, and wishing his mom a very special Happy Mother's Day.
I can't wait to get to the Monster Mile next week in Dover.
It'll be a lot of fun.
It will be.
We wish all the moms out there a happy Mother's Day on Sunday. Thanks to our researcher, Patrick Perrin, our cosmetic magician, Adrian Gallatin, Jimmy from Tampa, Ed from Indianapolis, Lynn Mignani, happy 29th birthday, and Mama Peasy, happy Mother's Day. For Jeff, I'm Chris. Thanks for watching NASCAR on Fox.